Hello, welcome. We are all live, all organized nicely. Fantastic. Welcome to our eighth session of Hallstatt by Night, the Devil's Agent. Yes, before I even go into anything or the recap or anything, let's introduce some of the wonderful people that we're going to be playing with tonight, starting with Lukas.
Hi everyone, I am Satanic Bunny and I'll be playing Lukas Rosselini, aka Dr. Andrew Miles, the group's head carter.
Hello everyone, I'm Unemployed Writer, aka Chris, and I am playing Matthew Deacon, the shepherd of the Lord, let's say.
Well,
On the Settite. Sorry, got my clan.
Well, you just threw me. I am Baker's Dozen, aka Jonno. I returned for the session. I'm excited to play Kage, the shadowy darkness of La Sombra. And he's in quite a pickle, so let's see how this carries out.
Hi, I'm Nova, and I play Knives from the Nameless Coterie. I did an intro without fucking it up!
Please ignore the clan symbol down the bottom right side.
I mean, they know.
And I'm Ethan, the storyteller of this wonderful group / not quite coterie, as they are all independent in Hallstatt these days.
I would like to throw congregation.
Oh,
Congregation.
I would like
okay.
to reiterate unit.
Unit!
Yes!
So
or squad.
this all of the above. Everyone's got their own name for it, which is great, I think.
And fam.
It shows our characters even better. Fantastic. Cool. I usually begin this with a recap, and so we're going to do so. Again, if anyone thinks that there is more detail needed or something that I might have missed, I invite you to interrupt me and jump in and just say it like it is, or how your opinion of it was as well. So, fear, hopelessness, despair. Some of the emotions that burned through Lucas's mind as he fled due to the Rotschreck frenzy of the creature he faced. He ran quickly and far into the woods. There he called Father Lucio and was picked up by him. The two then travelled to pick up Knives, who had fled earlier, following the advice of the Lady in Red, a spirit possessing the dagger used to kill Rhiannon Zeitman. They all travelled to find Matthew Deacon, who in the meantime had drugged and fed on one of his herd, convincing him with his silver tongue that it was all their decision. The group travelled back to Father Lucio's church to talk. Some apologies were exchanged, and some individual discussion formed over allegiances, all while Kage was missing, somewhere in the night. The next night, the group awakened, with still no Kage in sight. They decided to visit Schlossgrub, the large manor on the edge of Obertraum, which held an old Samizi that the group were hesitant to meet. They approached the manor with some offerings and were invited inside. Knives saw the feminine form covered in a dark carapace-like dress, and with 8 beady black eyes and a long carapace-covered tail. The creature invited them to sit down and eat, serving them freshly dead hearts. When the group asked about Kage, they discovered he was tied to the ceiling by the black ooze covering every inch of the ceiling and walls. But next to his torpid form lay Seraphina on the ceiling, the Tremere they had been tasked to take care of and ultimately lost the other night, alive and screaming for help. But before that, let's go back to last night and find out what got Kage into this situation. So, at the same time that I'll describe the scene first. We are in Obertraum. We are nearby this haven of Matthew Deacon's ghoul, Kira, where the Tremere have been held out. All of a sudden, this Tremere Martin, very regal looking, stumbles out with his guts hanging out of his body. As Serafina flees the scene along with Lukas as they sight what happens next, with this ancient Salubri standing next to Kage, holding his hand out, trying to put trying to protect him, whatever this thing is. Then all of a sudden, long, dull blue arms with long, spiked, clawed fingers burst their way out and peel in half this Tremere. And this creature steps forward, very bat-like in its appearance, humanoid, with this pale blue skin, 2 large wings. No eyes, just large bat-like ears, and a huge, greedy smile across its face, with jagged teeth. It points at the Salubri and in a deep, resonating voice simply says, "Yes, you will do." And this is where we find ourselves. As Lukas, Serafina flee, Matthew Deacon is away trying to get from his herd, and Knives, long left, following the lady in red. Kage, what would you like to do, say, or how is Kage feeling in this current moment?
So beside me is a giant 6-foot tall Celtic warrior, and in front of me is an 8-foot tall giant bat demon. It's quite a situation.
Mm-hmm.
It still looks to me as though the Celtic warrior is on my side.
He's deliberately this huge, muscular, long, blonde, braided hair with his sword in one hand, his shield in the other, is sort of standing just slightly in front of you with his shield on his left side where you are, putting himself between you and this creature as they sort of stare at each other for a moment.
Right, in that case, I will hand on my sword. I will kind of step around his shield to be beside him and draw my sword. And I'll look at him and try and nod as if to say, I'm here to help.
A warrior's respect passes between the two of them as they both nod at each other at the same time. And he slams his sword against the shield, gives a roar of encouragement, and prepares for what is about to happen.
Next, I'll call... Oh, sorry.
No, you go ahead first.
I'll call out to the creature and I'll be like, was it you that killed Rhiannon?
Your voice echoes through. There's a silence as the snow gently falls. But the creature does not look at you, Kage, at all. Its ears twitch slightly. Its grin does not leave its face. Perhaps it's painted there, that's how its jaw is. As it instantly pushes up, leaps itself up high into the air. Its wings unfurl for a moment, and it launches diagonally straight down in front of both of you at incredible speeds. The speeds you'd see a car along the highway do, and crashes into the snow earth before you, and unfurling its wings, buffeting up the snow, and trying to knock you both off your feet.
If this probably goes without saying, but obviously I've got my rapid reflexes on because it's my passive. What can I soaring leap as I see him come to the ground? Kind of leap upwards?
Yes. Yeah, absolutely. So as it slams into the ground, trying to send a shockwave up, bring its wings up to buffet the snow into your face, as you leap as that shockwave flows through and land back down, luckily avoiding.
My intention, I don't know if I rolled it, is to jump up and as I come down, try and slash down at him.
Okay, let's make your dexterity melee against this creature as it buffets up this snow, sort of opening up its chest. The Salubri on the other hand will make a check to see if they can keep their feet.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5.
5 successes. Salubri steps back, holding their shield up against the buffeting snow, pushes it aside. Your blade comes down. You feel it. It directly strikes the creature's skin. But instead of blood, there are sparks as you grind against its skin, not slicing through the flesh at all.
Where did I hit?
Along the chest, straight
Chest.
down. Sparks fly. Whatever this
Alright.
thing is made of, it's harder than steel. Or perhaps
Alright,
some supernatural ability is keeping it up.
That's interesting. I'm going to try and find a weaker point, and I'm going to, after that initial slash, I'm going to spin around and try and cut its wings. Obviously, the wing closer to me.
Yeah, the wing is probably the weakest point. It's the thinnest membrane, or like limb, I should say. And also part of its inside of the wing is like thinner flesh inside you can try and cut. So make another dexterity check. Dexterity melee with your specialty. The Salubri is also going to join you. Together, the two of you attacking this thing at the same time.
Now, I might roll rouse check for my prowess, because I don't know if I activated that yet.
Yeah, no worries. This creature so far has done its turn to land down and explode out as best it can.
Success, and now my melee roll. Right, I will power that. And that gives me 3.
3. You strike up into the weakest part of the wing, where the skin is at its smallest. It does not pierce it. It slashes up against it, sparks flying. And as the Salubri steps in next to you, he shoves it with its shield, knocking it off balance, trying to slash it with his own sword. Nothing. It slashes straight across the chest. Sparks fly, leaving no trace.
All right. New approach. I'm going to go for a stabbing motion at its mouth. Try and get past the skin into what looks like a weak soft point.
Okay. So let's do another roll again. As the creature doesn't look at you, it keeps its eyes on the Salubri, stepping forward. The two of them, he holds up his shield. The creature engages, grabbing at the shield and starting to push the Salubri back with its immense force.
1, 2. I'll do a reroll. 3, 4, 5.
You stab straight up into its mouth. You find a spot that is weaker. You hit flesh, it sinks in. You do some damage, but not much. It sinks in just the tip, and you drag it out, but barely touch the creature at all. It seems to sort of swat you away, like someone would a mosquito.
Feeling a little bit insulted. I'll go for an eye.
Mm-hmm.
Stabbing motion again.
Okay. I will get you to make a dexterity melee and a dexterity athletics.
What do you mean, and?
2 rolls.
So
two separate rolls.
Okay.
Dex melee first, and then dex athletics.
All right, same amount of dice by the looks of it. All right, dex melee is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5.
Very nice. Very, very nice.
Dex athletics is 1, 2, 3, 4.
As you are,
I can willpower if I need to, though.
I don't think you can beat this thing's current roll. As you are aiming for a weak spot, the creature reaches out, physically grabs you in its hand, and drags you up to sort of get a look at you. And you take this moment to sort of stab into its sort of weaker flesh at its face. And you get it. You stab into its flesh, and you drag it around, start drawing this thick, black, oozing blood. But it doesn't react. Instead, as its flesh touches you, it sizzles, it burns, and it whispers something in a strange language. I need you to make a roll equal to your humanity in dice.
Right. Including hunger dice?
No, just normal dice for this one.
6 humanity, 6 dice. 1.
You are going to suffer a demonic compulsion. So, since the demonic influence amplifies this, you're going to suffer your own clan's bane, your own clan's compulsion, but to a demonic level. So,
But that's my negative, right?
No, I'll explain it to you now. This is demonic ruthlessness. The innocent need to suffer as you are far superior to them. Each scene you don't spend killing an innocent person causes you to suffer 2 superficial willpower damage. And the compulsion ends when you get stains equal to your bane severity.
Sorry, I need that again, but slow. Right.
That's okay. So every scene...
It didn't sound good initially.
Yes, it's not good. It's very bad. Touching this thing and being close to it gives you a demonic influence. So your normal compulsion is to do something ruthlessly, but this one corrupts it into doing something ruthless against innocent people. So every scene, so every sort of time passes, you'll take 2 superficial willpower damage every scene until you have enough stains equal to your bane severity, which I believe is 2.
So I have to collect 2
stains.
2 humanity stains.
Yes.
Or I'll keep losing 2 superficial willpower every
until
scene.
you eventually go into torpor from that much willpower damage, yes. As the influence and these whispers sort of come in and start to affect your head, it lets you go, dropping you down to the snow and starting to bash against the shield, tearing it apart, ripping into it. And as you hit the snow, Kage, your sword's still stuck in its head. It sort of begins to slow down and start to tear at the shield a bit slower. And then all at once, it shrieks and pulls the sword back, slams it to the ground, and as it turns, rakes its claws across the Salubri, digging deep, pushing him back. And it turns, jumps towards the house, physically... as it reaches into nothingness and tears open this sort of greenish veil. And you see this vision of the house that is decrepit, decayed, old, empty. And it leaps forward, shifting into it and disappearing.
And as it disappears, can I throw my combat knife at the very
Yeah,
least?
sure. Make a dexterity melee. Sure thing.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5.
You
5.
throw it in, and it vanishes just as the veil disappears. You don't see the knife impact, but you know that you made it through, and it was on target.
I also know that he's hard as shit.
He is made of something.
I just wanted to throw a knife at him.
It goes through the portal, disappears with the creature. And there's a silence between you two at this moment. But you can still hear this voice whispering in your head, telling you to do terrible, awful things in the background. What would you like to do?
I will... I'm no medical expert, but I will, in a showing of concern, I'll have a look at his wounds anyway.
Mm.
See if there's anything, obviously, like extra blood, extra inflammation, I don't know.
Yeah, it's the creature tore through the shield. The shield is shredded into tatters. The Salubri's right arm is also in tatters. And he is lying there sort of very slowly healing as parts of it are starting to slowly peel itself together. But not your sort of speeds of healing. Whatever this thing did, it's starting to sizzle and burn the wounds itself. So it's taking a long time. The Salubri sort of sits up and like grits their teeth, holding against it. And you can... he looks over at you, confused. But also, like, he nods. Seems he's glad you're alive.
I'll nod and I'll, because obviously we can't speak, but I will do as a thank you.
He says something in this ancient language and takes this small sort of amber pearl, hands it over to you. Seems like a gesture of respect.
I will say thank you again, and I will receive it.
You can add the ancient amber pearl to your inventory. He's still gritting his teeth, slowly healing this wound. His arm is just shredded.
Can I look around and see if there happens to be anybody looking at us?
As you simply have a look around, observing, there's normalcy around you. If you look into someone's window nearby, it seems like they're just watching television inside. They are oblivious to whatever is happening outside, even though there was huge impacts and roaring and slashing.
Can I just quickly jump in to remind? I think I sent some of my congregation to keep an eye on the street before things went crazy. So I don't know if they'll still be there or not, but just thought I'd bring it up.
This happened very quickly, so they will likely arrive any moment now.
I will go to old mate. I'll put my arm on his shoulder and I'll be like, come back for me to sleep.
The Salubri nods, sort of looks you over, grabs your chin, moves you around, checks your body. This sort of light glows as they sort of touch you. You feel. You would feel better if you were injured at all. Do you have any willpower damage at the moment?
I did not damage. I took 2 willpower rerolls.
Yeah, so you take it in
I do have
superficial.
one. I have 1 aggravated damage still that I haven't healed.
He will heal that for you. The aggravated willpower will be healed as he sort of puts his hand over your head. This light sort of envelops you for a moment, and he sort of breathes out, healing that for you. Your head feels at peace for a moment. But then crushing reality sets in. Those whispers don't stop even during this moment.
Try and shake myself, and I'll be like, I'll grab his hand that used to heal me, and I'll kind of like place on his wounded hand and look puzzled, like, can you heal yourself?
Yeah, he understands that gesture, and he simply shakes his head. And he points at you.
I'd say thank you. I will go shut the door to the house because I don't want to leave it open like that. And then I will come back and I'll kind of gesture him to follow me back to my haven.
He stands slowly, sort of disregards whatever's left of the shield, but sheaths his sword over his back with his working hand, clutches the other one as he sort of limps back slightly with you.
All right. Once we get back, I'm going to lead him down to the basement, and I am going to grab some old cloths and stuff and just wrap it around his arm.
Yeah,
I'm no medical expert, but I can tie a bit of cloth and
yeah, it will assist somewhat. You're not an expert on this thing. You're expert on healing yourself, but it's something.
I think I know it won't help, but it's a gesture anyway, like a friendly gesture.
Yeah, he's sort of nodding on with you, and he picks up what you're trying to do and starts doing it to himself to sort of bring the sliced parts of arms sort of back together and wrap them together so that the healing process might at least help somewhat, but the blood's still sizzling. The wound is still looks black, almost like infected.
Does it say if it looks infected? Maybe I could try and gesture him with I don't have my knife anymore, damn it. My sword, and I could like gesture like cutting out the infected bit. Like I'll be like make a cutting motion and
all of it looks infected. Everywhere that was touched has sort of turned the skin black around it.
In that case, does it look like it's getting worse? It's still
it does.
Sizzling.
The corruption is actually slowly moving through his arm, and you can see the veins are starting to slowly turn black, almost clotting as well.
Yeah, okay. In that case, I will grimace. I will do a pointing motion, and I'll be like, and I'll kind of put my sword up gently to his arm, and I'll look at him.
He shakes his head, takes out his own sword, which is made of this ancient bronze metal, and passes it to you, putting his hand up on whatever table or thing that you have there, and gestures for that one instead. He points at yours, shakes his head.
Yeah, I will sheath my sword, put it back to my side. I'll nod, and I'll pick up his sword.
He holds his hand out and down.
I'll get some more rags ready. I just kind of have them there. And I will hold it, look at him one more time for the nod of approval.
Yeah, he nods, bares his teeth, and looks away.
Chop.
Crunch. Like, this sword goes straight through the flesh and the bone and the table itself like it was a hot knife through butter, slicing straight through cleanly. How hungry are you, Kage?
2.
Hunger frenzy check as this ancient blood spews out from this salubri. It is intoxicating, delicious.
Remind me on what I need. A quarter of my a third of my willpower plus humanity.
It's your remaining willpower plus a third of your humanity.
Remaining willpower plus the third. Okay, so that's 4 plus a third of my humanity. So 2. 1, 2, 3.
3, you succeed. You manage to hold it down, even though the fangs come out as this ancient dark blood starts to spew out from the salubri. They step back and start to like hold in the wound and press with an immense force and try to stop the blood from flowing out. Sort of lie back down, scrape their back down along the wall, down into a sitting position.
Yeah, I'll give him the cloths. And did we bring back his tattered shield?
It's nothing left. Like whatever it once was is just pieces of timber.
Was it wooden? Was it?
The shield was wooden, yeah, and it's been torn into pieces.
Well, okay, I'm not sure then. I might take the sword. I'm going to turn on my oven element. I mean, being in college, I'll have an oven even if I don't use it.
Yeah.
And I'm just going to try and heat up the end of it.
You're going to cauterize the wound?
Yeah, I'm going to try and heat up the wound and then go for a sealing.
Very smart. You do this process, and the two of you work together. He's a bit hesitant at first, but everything you've been through, he trusts you. With a sizzling sound and the salubri gritting their teeth, fangs coming out. You cauterize the wound together, sealing it so no more blood drips out. That's when you hear the skittering sound just above your head on the roof.
On the ceiling or like on the roof?
On the roof.
Inside or outside?
Outside, what you can hear.
I'll motion to be quiet and listen. Does he look like he hears it too?
He looks pretty out of it. He's sort of looking around trying to listen as well, but he's sort of in and out of eyes going down and shaking his head.
I'm like, don't worry, I'll kind of like go and like lay him down with like a pillow or something. You know, chuck a blankie over him.
He sort of lies down, rests.
No time for a lullaby though.
Yeah. It's looking pretty bad. That whatever that infection thing was really seems to have taken the wind out of him.
That's just that crawly thing's going to get in the way of this. But also before he went to sleep, I wanted to ask him if he wanted something to eat. I have a feeling he's going to say no, but I want to offer.
He sort of shakes his hand, says something, and sort of gestures. You can assume he's saying later, because he seems pretty quiet, pretty tired right now from whatever that is.
Cool. All right, I'll just be like a nod, and I'll kind of tuck him back in more.
There's another thud on the ceiling. Right. This one a bit louder.
And on sword.
Then a third thud.
I will lock the basement door.
Mm-hmm.
The one that comes from the house, and I am going to go the other way through my secret entrance.
Mm-hmm. Let's get a dexterity stealth check, please.
Sorry, y'all. You'll get a turn soon.
It's perfectly fine. Very dramatic. I like it.
And say I've got to especially in break-ins, but not breakouts. That is a land. Oh, there's a crit there. Okay, 1, 2, 3, and then 2 10s. So that's
2 more.
7.
7. Yeah. 7
Sorry,
successes.
I have a 9, 9, 7, 10, 10. So it comes 7. Yeah.
7. 7 successes with a critical success. You sneak out the back way without being seen. And from this distance, looking back at the house, there's this swarm of flies, it looks like, skittering over the house, moving their way across, like over a carcass, making their way through. But these are not normal sized flies, whatever these things are. Humanoid shapes, large, beady eyed, looking around for something. Perhaps the smell of that blood is drawing whatever that is.
What am I going to do about this? So many things I want to do. Oh, it's a shame I hate fire. Not that I want to set my own place on fire or anything. Whole swarm of humanoid flies. Sounds like a lot. I shall. It's getting in the way of my killing innocent people. Fuck it. I've had a bad night. I'm reasonably fast. I will.
You are.
What is it? Will it help me be fast in any like fleeing scenario if I activate my fleetness, which takes a rouse check?
Fleetness does let you automatically pass certain checks, and it also adds towards your avoidance of attacks against you.
Could be good. All right, rouse check. I will activate my fleetness.
Okay.
It's a 0, so that's a 10. Gucci.
The roaring of your would-be heart roaring in your ears at this point. Everything that's happened so far, it's almost made you feel alive again. You have to focus on all these things, keep yourself alive. It's like you felt back in Japan.
Don't have my knife anymore. I've got my sword. I'm going to get their attention, and the only thing I can think of to throw would be a good old snowball. I'm going to throw a snowball at them.
Let's get a...
I'm going to make a nice round snowball and hit it at them.
Actually, no, that's not even a check needed for that. That's very easy for you to do, especially if you're a vampire. You simply scoop up some snow, put it together, throw it at these things. You hit one directly in the head, and it sort of goes across all these like beady eyes that it has, like many reflective mirrors. And then all of a sudden, all of these things turn towards you all at once. They sort of look like humanoids without the arms. The arms have been removed in replacement for these large bat-like wings. Their heads are just 2 large eyes next to each other, and they have these long proboscises in front of their faces. Sort of made of some sort of dark material, you're not quite sure. And they sort of turn towards you, observing, start flapping their wings in a chorus.
I will pick up another thing of snow and I'll hit at them again.
It smacks another one, almost out of the sky, actually. It actually sort of falls back down to the roof, starts writhing as it tries to pick itself up without arms. The others, interestingly, are actually going to... They start flying up, and they sort of dive down at a diagonal with their proboscis shooting out in front of them. So let's get a dexterity. Athletics.
I guess that works.
Unless you want to...
I want a soaring leap and a backwards motion.
Yeah, sure. I'll get a dexterity athletics as well.
Actually, as I say, yeah, we'll just roll what I want to do now. Because
Okay.
there's all this time to think about in the moment.
Yep.
Is I want a soaring leap back, but I want to slash at the same time.
Okay.
So I'm looking for it. They come down, and I jump back and slash as I leap away.
Okay, let's get cold shot, dexterity, melee against these things. We'll just get a dexterity melee because you're soaring leap. we'll add to that. We'll see how you go.
It's 1, 2, 3, 4. Oh, crit again. So
Crit
7.
again.
7.
7 successes. Incredible. As you jump back, as you jump back and slash, you catch 2 of these things. They're made of just weak flesh, whatever they are. You slice straight through their bodies, 2 of them. Both of them in half, both of them die straight away. However, one of these things does get you, and it strikes just in your right sort of shoulder area. This wood strikes straight through your chest and pushes you back slightly. The others slam into the ground and sort of struggle to pull these wooden proboscises out before they begin to get ready to strike again.
Obviously, there's the one that hit me.
It's stuck in you. It's like its proboscis is through your shoulder and it's struggling to try and pull itself out.
All right, I will slice it clean in half if I can. While it's stuck there.
Dexterity melee.
One, 2, 3, 4.
Can I get a dexterity athletics as well? 4 successes is definitely enough to slice off. You slice up straight through this thing, break off that piece of wood that's inside you. But I'm going to need a dodge for this one.
Cool. With my fleetness, do I add celerity to it?
You add your celerity in dice rating to this as well.
Cool. Which is 2.
So 2 dice to this one.
It's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5.
Do you want to willpower reroll?
Yeah, always means reroll. It's 1 and 1 didn't roll. Hold on. 2.
How many in total?
So that makes 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Is that right? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Maybe I didn't count right before, but I've got 7 there now.
That's okay. It is unfortunately not quite enough, as these things work in tandem. You start slicing, cutting through them. One dives straight towards you. Just hold your sword up, and it splits itself in half right in front of you. But over time, as you start fighting them off, they start to pierce you a bit more, very inaccurately, until
I'm going to see the situation. I'm going to try and flee
until one strikes your heart.
Yeah.
Which is this one's critical 12 successes.
As I say, that was my dodge roll, wasn't it?
That was your dodge roll for that one. And you go into torpor as these
what's going to happen?
as these strange mosquito-like creatures sort of try to pry themselves off of you. And that's when you sort of hear a voice stumbling its way over towards you. And this sort of clicking, almost like a cricket's legs rubbing against each other. And the voice simply says, sort of a feminine voice, says, "No, not you. You're not that one. It is now that we come to the present."
Oh, all right, unconscious for me.
Kage, you are torpored, luckily undamaged, on the ceiling of this Tsimitsi's home. Serafina is next to you. You're still sort of aware of what's going on, what's been happening, but you are unable to communicate.
Do I know whether Serafina was there before I got there, or she came in after?
She was there before.
Okay. Could be important, might not be.
As we come back to this dining room table where the Tzimitsi sits, Kage and Serafina are above them in this sort of black, almost like like ooze that has hardened over time, that is now keeping them there. The Tzimitsi leans forward. Knives, you feel something shifting, touching your leg briefly for a moment underneath the table.
I slowly move my leg away. And so my hand is on Lucas's shoulder.
Mm-hmm.
And I slowly move the chair back.
Something moves. It flickers quickly. You don't see quite what it is. Actually, no, let's get a wits awareness from you. You're very good at wits awareness checks, so I think this is appropriate for you. Any comments or anything from other vampires at the table?
I assume you didn't save our friend from the kindness of your heart and present him to us here.
Quite, the creature says. It's difficult to read. Its face is almost so non-human that it doesn't give away human-like features, but you can see the creeping of a smile across that face.
So, assuming that you are willing to give us our friends back, what would that cost? What would you take? What would you like?
How many successes, Knives?
6.
6, you see it. This long, black, almost like a snake, but made of like insect carapace that has this mouth with fangs that sort of almost bit into your leg. It slings its way back across the floor and back underneath this carapace dress of the Tzimitzi underneath the table.
I slowly stand on my feet on the chair.
The 8-eyed, black beady-eyed creature sort of tilts its head slightly, observing you, with all 8 of them reflecting each of you in this moment. Before it answers, I want a handful of soil from each of your domains. And also from that witch Adelaide and that charlatan Isaac from their domains.
Very well. Well, let's say we don't have a domain. I don't have a domain, per se.
It's a domain.
Obertron will do.
Very well. We'll look
As
over
a-
at Lucas. See what Lucas is.
Call it curiosity, and there is not a fiber in my being that desires to offend. So if it appears that I may, please interrupt. What? Why soil?
You would not understand it. Your kinds never understand. As a gesture of good faith, your companion can go with you. But if you want this other one, it'll cost you the soil.
Thank you very much for this great gesture of good faith. I greatly appreciate it. We will indeed talk about and get you what you need. Is there a time sensitivity to this?
Well, I'm not sure how long I can keep her up there without feeding the little ones. As she speaks, this long black snake-like tail sort of whips out, crashes into the carapace, and breaks it apart. Kage, you instantly are awake, and you are instantly falling towards the table.
Try and land a little more gracefully than a splat.
I
You've
jump
done
on the
this.
table to catch him.
If she's going to try and catch me, I'll let myself be caught.
Yeah, perfectly fine. Knives, you catch Kage and sort of let him down.
Arigato.
Are you okay?
Oh, I've had better nights, but not my worst.
I
Okay, sit
will-
on this chair and don't let your feet touch the ground.
Okay.
I'll look at Lucas. I'll look over at Kage. I'll look at Knives,
What-
and kind of giving that look of, should we go, or
Did
should we stay for a
Seraphina
little
fall,
bit?
or
Seraphina is still up there. She is awake. She is trying to scream through this black carapace ooze that has hardened over her mouth, eyes wide in panic.
I'm gonna
Um,
come back and get you. It's gonna be okay.
if when I look at the heart on the thing, you said it
Mm.
was fresh. Did it
Yes.
appear to have any kind of mutations, alterations, or infections?
Didn't seem like it. It seems as soon as it was put down, it beat its last beat. It seems untouched.
And do we have cutlery?
Yes, absolutely. A bit dirty, but it'll do.
I, like a good dinner guest, will, over the course of the conversation with them, eat that heart.
How hungry are you in this moment, Lucas?
I believe I was at hunger 1, but this is just to,
Yeah. This would usually have the equivalent for an organivore of 2 points, but you are already pretty satiated at this moment.
Thank you for your hospitality. Matthew,
Yes.
we had gifts to give.
We did. We did. Knives, Kage. Knives, do you mind showing Kage the gifts while we entertain our friend here?
Um, I can't remember what they are.
In the boot, there is. Oh wait, yeah. In the boot, there is a body. The leftover remains of the guy I took for Lucas.
Oh yes.
There's
yes,
also
yes.
and-
2 dead Schlachter,
I think I
believe.
have that with me in a bag.
Yeah,
Even
you had it
better.
in a trash bag.
So I'll bring it out and I'll just present the bag to her and to them and I'll just say, this is part 1. Knives is getting part 2.
My darlings, my poor useless darlings.
We're so sorry about what happened here, but I'm figuring you can use the material for new things, maybe.
Yes, the fact they failed their duties is a good study.
forgive
Yeah,
me, I'm hazy on account of the whole kidnapping fiasco, but why are we not getting Seraphine as well?
We can talk about that.
We can talk about that in a second. We will get Seraphine because we are going to help our lovely host here.
Lovely, lovely indeed.
I put an emphasis on we.
Might I ask a question while the others bring the final gift?
I'll go with Knives. I want to get out of the room anyway. I'm pissed.
She went as soon as she was asked.
That's why I sent you both. It was because I figured you both wanted to get the hell out of there.
As the 2 of you exit and leave, the door opens on its own accord. Well, at least it did the first time. This time you can see that this arm, this black carapace insectoid arm, just reaches down and opens the door for you from above. And you step outside into the cool, snow-covered fields of Schlossgrube. But in the meantime,
I'm going to take a moment and a deep breath and feel the
As-
snow falling on
yeah.
my face.
as you sort of
Same.
before you sort of try to bring a meditative state back into yourself, you hear those voices again. They say, do it. Kill them. They're not even worth it. All these voices whispering at once like a chorus. Starts to hurt a bit more.
I just let out a frustrated growl.
Hmm.
I forgot I had negative rolls.
That's
Yeah,
all
we
right.
haven't rolled yet. So.
As the 2 of you go
Oh wait, you did.
to get the stuff in the trunk, Lucas, you had a question you wanted to ask the creature.
I am I've always been very fascinated. As you know, I am in the medical field. This is where we found your children.
Sure. Children is a good word for it. They all have a part of me in them.
I just, if I may, wish to ask why the surveillance of the hospital? Was it because of me? Was it someone else? Could I provide assistance in something?
I was merely observing so that I knew when to take my darling Rhiannon back to me.
Sorry?
How much information do you know about Rhiannon?
I know that she is highly treasured in town.
Your darling Leanne.
Yes, mine.
You met her before? You saw her from afar?
I never met her. My appearance to some is, well, not welcomed, so I observed her music from afar. I don't get entirely what it was all about, but it's the fact that all of you want her that makes her so valuable. Even in death.
Did you see it?
Her demise?
Yes.
No. I'm too busy spying on my real enemies.
The witch and King I guess.
Those two.
Oh, now there
Always.
is another enemy.
Indeed. The enemy of my enemy.
Is sometimes not a friend.
Hmm.
But I understand.
As long as those two die, I couldn't care less.
What happens when they die?
And the work can finally begin, and I will have my revenge. This kind, she sort of gestures and looks up to Seraphina, have been stepping on our land for so long, and their time is up.
Vienna or a much bigger project?
Vienna is the start. Then I will
I
make
am
glorious, glorious soldiers out of their bodies.
I understand the affairs of mortals probably beneath you. But as a gesture of goodwill, since you gave us a gesture of goodwill, I'm willing to impart with this information. Hunters are coming from Munich. Being loud, these hunters, we've seen a small fraction. And the small fraction of them are, well, they're a lot. Being loud, all due respect, but being loud might not be the best course of action right now, if you want my opinion.
They tilt their head the other direction very quickly and sort of chitter slightly. Their two mandibles clack together briefly for a moment. But before they respond, outside, Knives and Kage, is there any discussion between you two, or is it a simple grab and come back?
I'll kind of indicate to her, like, you can take the food back. I'm not going back in there.
How about out there? And she hugs him.
Sorry, what'd you say there?
She just gives him a squishy hug.
No, I didn't hear what you said. And I'll say, oh, thank you, Knives. Did I worry you?
I never understood why we weren't looking for you.
I guess same reason why we didn't look for you. Faith that the other made it through.
I was gone for a couple of hours, not a whole day.
Yeah. But I mean, you know me, I often disappear. Just so happens this time wasn't of my willing.
I'm like pulling stuff out of the car at this point. What about the guy
Not here. We won't talk about it here.
living?
The guy, yes, is alive last I seen.
She heaves this thing out of the back and chucks it over her shoulder.
Real quick,
Mm.
we're at this this is like a mansion place on like a hill, right?
It is just by the lakeside, actually. It's only a short walk to both the town itself of Obertron and the
Mhm.
Hallstatt Sea Lake.
All right. I'll say to Niles, we're like, get Lukas to meet me back at mine. The others, of course, can come if they want, but I need Lukas.
Okay.
And then I'm just gonna kind of take off.
Mm. What is your intention while you are away?
I'm kind of heading back to mine, but I've got this.
That is my directed question, indeed.
This nagging thing. Like, I feel what I feel and I don't like it, but I don't want anyone to see me like this.
Mm.
So I'm just separating myself for a moment, and I'm probably going to pick out a house, go for a feed. Like, on the surface, obviously, I think I'm hungry and I want something. Obviously, there's something deeper down which I'm fighting against, but on the surface, I'm just like, I just need a feed. That's all it is.
Are we going to acquire the amount of stains we need for this?
Probably. I hope so, yes. I'm so conflicted. I don't hope so, and I hope so.
I will, for the sake of this, say Kage finds a home, enters the house, and sort of the camera, I guess, zooms out at the house, sort of implying what's going to happen in there. You're going to acquire three. Your Bane severity is what, 2 or 3?
It's two.
2, I believe it is. I'll double check for you. It is 2. You're going to acquire 2 stains, and you're going to go to Hunger 0.
Go Menasai.
As the
That's
voices slowly stop as you witness what you do. But Knives, you enter back into the manor, into Schlossgrub estate with the body. Bring it inside. I imagine you dump it onto the table along with the rest of it.
Unceremoniously.
As you do so, the creature responds with just, I have been quiet for a long time, and I have dealt with many hunters before. I will do so again.
Understand. I just wanted you to be warned. You can take my advice, you can throw it out. It's fine.
There is 2 potentially more problematic agents that I'm aware of that you might have more enjoyment in cracking open.
I have my eyes on bigger sights than just mere mortals.
That's right.
Small eggs that I can crack open and shift into better works. So simple.
All right. I apologize. Here is the final gift.
a handful's worth of soil, each of your domains, and the other two. You may have this one back so long as they don't leave town, of course.
No, we'll make sure that she stays.
I'm
Thank
sure
you.
you will.
Thank you so much for being a great host. And if you don't mind, I look down at my heart. If you don't mind, do you mind if I take this to go? Is that rude? I'm not sure. We're on a bit of a time frame, as you have clearly made apparent.
They are for you. Take them if you wish.
Thank you. I'll kind of awkwardly I'll grab the plate, and then I'm like, do I take the plate? I'll just grab the heart in my hand.
I'll walk around and I'll like take any of the hearts that were left behind, and I'm taking them with me, just with my
Yeah.
hand.
There'll be just the one that Knives did not touch. The creature stands, slowly gives a bow. The door opens itself. And as you're sort of leaving, Knives, you sort of glance back. The creature sort of steps its way towards one of the walls and just shifts straight into it as if it's not even there, bubbling black ooze in their wake. You're all outside. I imagine you all take your way back to the car before you speak.
And even then,
I look at
Don't
Knives.
even say anything.
As soon as we get out, I look at Knives and I just sort of whisper, "Where's Kage? In the shadows?"
I left. He wants Lucas to meet him at.
Gotcha. Let's get into the car and we'll.
Lucas is just at like the boot of the car. Like I have said before, there's usually instruments that he uses, and so he'll just kind of throw the heart into a double wrapped bag and kind of like look at Matt, and take it, and put it in, wrap it up so that it doesn't leak, and with one of the water bottles, wash my hands, wash Matt's hands, and get in the car.
Knives gets in the back.
I will go in the back, and then as soon as I see you go in the back, all right, guess I'm shotgun tonight. Jump in.
Getting a phone call, I apologize.
That's all right. I imagine our destination is Kage's home, Kage's haven. After some time, some silence in the car from what we've seen over the past 2 nights, the past 3 or 4 nights, I suppose, the things that we've seen gotten crazier and crazier. And after some time, we all find ourselves in Kage's haven.
Assuming I arrive there first, they'll
You
probably
do.
find me outside with a rag, cleaning off my shoddy bloody symbols.
I get out of the car and just immediately run to Kage and like give him a big old hug as well.
Two hugs in one day, that's more than I've had in a decade.
I was whispering into the darkness, Kage. I was hoping you would answer back. I'm so glad that you weren't dead like I thought. And then I look at him, holding his shoulders, just looking him in the eye, and I'm like, don't do anything that fucking stupid again.
By that, what do we refer to exactly? Should we go inside?
Running.
Sorry.
Running off with big old Bjorn or whatever his bloody name is.
Who's
Well,
Bjorn?
I couldn't exactly just leave him to rampage or whatever he was intending to do.
Be alive?
Yes.
And I will turn to Knives and I'll say, Knives, you said you didn't want any part of the unicorn. Coming in with us, that's going to be part of the unicorn. Up to you what you want to do. I just want to warn you before you come in.
In here?
I assume so.
And I'll look at Lucas. I'll be like, got any med supplies, kits in your car?
Always.
Likely to hurt us?
Please, Please
wait,
bring
wait,
them
wait.
downstairs, Lucas.
Wait, for Bjorn?
Yes.
No, no.
Yes.
All right.
Dead.
Let's go inside.
Did you call him Bjorn because it rhymes with unicorn?
No, I didn't, but that's really smart. I'm going to steal that. Yes, I did. Yes, I did.
I take all of my medical equipment. I don't
Mhm.
spare any.
I still want to know if he's gonna hurt us. Like, what's the I don't know
Chances
anything
are
that's going on here.
chances are low, but not zero. There is risks in everything we do. I think he's on the level, but I can't guarantee.
Is he hungry?
Probably very hungry.
Do you
I would
think it is
I would
beast or
say
face yet?
maybe stay upstairs and just me and Lucas will go to the basement to start off with.
I might just stay out here.
Okay.
Keep watch.
Thank you.
I will need to talk to you a little later, Knives, about something that I've observed, but that is not now. Please, Kage, show me the way.
And I'll lead him down to the basement.
Mm-hmm. As you make your way downstairs, the two of you, you can smell it, Lucas, as you come in. The most delicious smell of blood you've ever smelt in your entire unlife, whatever this is. Likely you are not hungry enough for it to really pull you into almost licking it off the floor, but you see this huge hulking figure again, cross-legged, sitting against the wall, seemingly breathing deeply in and out, with their right arm quickly wrapped up, all stained with this dark, dark blood.
I will go up to old mate and I will bow to him, and then I will be like, I'll gesture to Lucas and I will gesture to his arm.
He looks at you, nods slightly, breathes in and out. He has less, his fangs have retracted. He's in less of a intense state. He seems a lot more calmer now. And this table that the two of you set up that has the slice in it now as well, he sort of puts his hand up on it, Lucas, and they unravel it together, placing it there. You can tell it's a pretty shoddy job. You would have done a lot better with all of this cauterizing, this cutting. But all in all, it seems to have done the job. It's
Now I should explain best I can what actually happened, if that might help. You've seen it, right? That
Yes.
thing.
It is the only thing. The thing within us all is the only reason why I was not there with you.
It's fine. It's strong. It's not a colorful way to describe it, but it's simple and it's truthful. It's strong. And the two of us together barely stood a chance. One slash tore through his shield and his arm. His arm, how do I say it, was bubbling and decaying. And I don't know much, but I know it definitely rot when I see it. So we took it. I assume the arm's still sitting somewhere.
yeah.
It's probably gone even more off color, but I'll gesture to it. I'll be like, "Is the arm?"
It's completely black, like a limb that has suffered from extreme cold. And except as soon as you sort of get towards it, there's this foul sulfurous smell that just surrounds it, and it still is bubbling away. It's almost like it's slowly, very slowly melting.
I am going to put on Sense the Unseen to investigate a little further. I'm not touching it with my bare hands.
Sense the Unseen, there is this definitely this raw, I guess the most raw, I guess, malicious aura around this. It's a lingering effect. It doesn't come from it, but there's this lingering maliciousness that is felt by you. You can sort of see the aura of the whatever's left over, the mark that it's left.
Hmm. And you haven't touched it with your bare hands.
No, I don't think I did. But the creature itself did touch me.
Where?
Trying to mind, he just kind of grabbed me, didn't it?
Mm-hmm.
I'm guessing kind of grabbed me, like maybe on my shoulder or whatever.
Pretty much
closer.
with its whole hand could pretty much wrap itself around your torso is what it did.
Yeah.
As you start to, I imagine, derobe and show where it was touched, you actually see your skin is sort of burned slightly. Luckily, there was no direct contact with this thing, but it's almost like someone who's, specifically put in sunscreen everywhere else except for these parts that this thing touched you. This big, bright red across you. Doesn't seem that there's that black aura or that malicious darkness here, but it's very, very faint here compared to the other one, which is very strong.
And I guess I will sense the unseen, the injured unicorn itself, to see if I can find any other lingering taint.
Doesn't seem like it, but there's almost this brilliance about this Salubria that makes him difficult to look at and very, very pure in a lot of ways. Their aura is pure. It is clear. There is no sort of... With a human, you'd expect some emotion or something else, but there's just blankness about them, a serenity, perhaps.
He's clean as I can see. Don't touch that severed limb. What was the instrument that you used to sever it? It must be cleansed.
I will. Obviously, he will have the sword because it's his. I'll just kind of gesture, I'll be like, his sword.
Picking it up, observing it, it's completely clean.
Yeah, I'll ask first. I'll be like, may I at the sword?
He takes it off the wall where it's sort of hanging and then just hands it over to you. It's completely clean. No residue or anything remains upon the blade of this sword, even though it looks old and sort of badly put together. Still is something to this blade that makes it special.
He might know something about this. He suggested I use it rather than my own sword, and he would be right because it did the job very well. I also used it to burn his wound closed too.
What is it that you're looking for out of me? Do you want me to suture it back so that it has a little easier time to heal?
Yeah, basically, I'm no medical professional, as you well know. I did what I could in the moment, but if you could, fix my shoddy work, make him comfortable.
Your quick thinking could have saved their lives and in turn all of ours. You don't give yourself too much credit. You did very good under the circumstances, much better than I. And then Lukas...
I doubt that.
Oh, no, you did. I wasn't the same without you, Kage. You can ask the others. I'm not going into it right now. And then I go and look a little closer at the injuries, look at my medical supplies, my instruments, my ointments and all that.
Anything else you need? Anything I can get you? Got more blankets?
Salt.
Salt? I can get you salt. I'll be right back.
I put on my gloves.
Mm-hmm. Start to address the wounds, stitch them up, make sure that they are a lot cleaner. The Salubri simply stands there, observes you briefly for a second, and then looks away and lets you do your thing, sort of kneeling down, hand up on or arm up, I should say, up on the table there to let you work easily. You come back with, I imagine, Kage, you've got some refined sort of table salt sort of things.
Nothing special.
Yeah. Bring that back down with you.
As I say, Matthew, were you outside or were you inside?
I'm outside.
Yeah, it's okay. It's fine. I'll grab the salt and head back down.
Make a circle of salt around that limb.
Mhm.
Call me superstitious.
Okay.
And I will proceed to do that.
You create this ring of salt. After some time, you eventually leave the Salubri to their sort of injuries, perhaps with some blood or something, and make your way to regroup with everyone. Is there any discussion between... Yeah,
He's-
go ahead.
so-
Go ahead.
Quickly before that, he's going to say no, but I'm going to offer again food.
He sort of shakes his head and sort of breathes. He gestures and shows you that he breathes in, breathes out, and puts a smile across his face.
That's it. I'll just be like, okay, and I'll head back up and regroup.
I have something I want to try, actually.
Okay. Yeah, go ahead.
I'm probably going to have to destroy my phone after this, but Lukas
Before
takes
I
his
leave
phone.
or after?
When you're still here.
Yeah, okay, cool. I'm still here.
I'll take the phone out.
I'll step back when I see him take his phone out.
I'll go
It's
to
just kind of an
Google.
instinct thing. Like
Yeah.
if someone pulls their phone out, I kind of just move back.
Yeah.
A little bit.
Completely understandable.
I will go to Google. I can't say it properly because my phone just woke up.
Yeah.
And I will go to translate. This is a desperate act, but I'm going to try and get the man to speak, and maybe it will capture something.
Ooh.
Whatever this language is has not been documented very well. This creature is so old that whatever it is, you maybe get some brief words. But I will say, in the process, you're going to sort of try and talk to each other as all this process is going through. You're going to get his name, and he starts to get names from you guys as well. He understands that you're Lukas, Kage. He says his name is Vercingetorix.
Oof. Vercingetorix.
Does the Google give me a rough estimation as to like the what it sounds like? Like, does it sound Latin or does it sound this or whatever?
It's a variety of. It's so old. It's so difficult to tell. You would have to be, 3,000 years old to be able to tell what this language is.
Okay. I'll just make note of like all, though it's like, a scramble, it's also the only thing we have. So I'm going to make note of all of the varying different potential languages that it maybe could have come from, make all those notes, kind of look a little disappointed, but there was progress, however minimal. And I give the phone to Kage.
I initially am like, I can't step away with my hand like,
Oh no, I can't use it now.
You really want me to have this?
Destroy it.
Oh, right. Then I'll drop it to the ground and crush it.
Easy. No effort whatsoever. While this is happening, I believe Matthew, Deacon, and Knives are outside together. Is there any discussion before everyone regroups together between you two?
Yeah, I think Matthew, he's just going to leave Knives to do her thing, and he's just going to be sitting down on the stoop, just in deep thought, looking at the snow as it comes down. And assuming Knives is nearby, he'll eventually just say, it's the place you call home, I guess. He'll say that to Knives.
What do you mean?
Domain. I so flustered during that whole thing. I don't even know if he answered your question. Domain. Place you call home.
What if you don't have a home?
That's what I asked. I guess it's a place where you're staying is really what they want.
What does it
But
do?
I don't know. Honestly, I don't know. It's way
Are
over
you
my head.
telling me, Mr. Deacon, You don't know something.
I don't know something, and you know what? I think I'm
Incredible.
and I think I'm taking a page out of your advice. I'm not letting it worry. I'm letting all of this happen. I can't control any of it. Hell, in the basement right now is where my greatest mistake is. So I'm just not worrying about it. How you holding up, kid? That's pretty intense in there.
Yeah, my leg just about got bitten off. It was scary.
That wasn't
But
very
at least
polite of a host to do.
it's not as bad as what happened to Kage.
That's true. It was an intense time. It was an intense situation. I was honestly pretty scared the whole time. But I think we did as good as we could. We got Kage back. Hopefully we can get Serafina back. Hopefully.
Are we? What is the? I need to know what the dirt does before we give it to her. What if it's like giving you blood and then they have access to you all the time?
I figure we're never gonna know. It's gonna take a long time to find out. So don't worry about it.
Yeah, but Adelaide.
What, like about taking her dirt? Is that what you?
Where do we get her dirt? Who says that's actually where she lives?
If we're wrong, we're wrong. They'll tell us. I think we can make an
Also, that's
educated
really
guess.
fucking rude just to take someone's blood, dirt, whatever, and just be like, here you go.
I don't think you've manners aren't exactly on the top of Kindred's lists. But
I need to ask you a favor.
oh, okay. What's the favor?
I just need to bite you once. Just a little bit
Take
of
me
your
to
blood.
dinner first, please.
What about if I take you to dinner afterwards?
All right, okay. So you need to bite me once. Okay, you need to give me a bit
Yeah.
more than that.
And then just kick me off.
And then kick you off. You realize what happens. I mean, no, you don't, because you don't drink from people. What happens normally when you drink from someone is they kind of lose themselves. So I don't think I'll be in the right frame of mind. I can try my best, but I guess the question is, do I trust you enough to? Well, why do I need to kick you off? Shrug. Fuck it. Kage and Lukas are going to be back up here soon anyway, and they present my best.
Okay.
Are you really going to do this?
Yeah. Go on.
I just fucking bite him. Not the arm.
Okay. So, as your clan that shall not be named,
Don't have your bite emoji unlocked even. Damn it.
you need to make a hunger frenzy check.
How do I do that?
So it's your remaining willpower. Don't forget the start of your of the session. All superficial willpower equal to your highest between your composure or your resolve gets returned back to you. So your willpower should be approximately 6-ish.
It's 5.
5 successes, and your bane severity is 2. You succeed by 1. You manage to hold on. Now, this will involve the exchanging of a blood point between the two of you. What are both your hungers at? 2 and 1.
1.
If it is all right with you, Mr. Deacon, you are going to go to hunger 3. Knives, unfortunately, you can't drop below 1 unless you kill someone. But you slake enough blood that the roaring beast, the judge within you, all of a sudden goes quiet. It sits back and purrs in its cage, no longer a snarling wolf, but a satisfied house cat.
Also, for funsies, I'm pretty sure she has access to my disciplines now in terms of leveling up.
Indeed.
Woo.
And
What
spend
disciplines
7
do we have?
Protean, presence, and
obfuscate.
obfuscate. Yeah.
And I'm pretty sure Matthew's looking a little bit more awesome now for some reason.
What did I
Alright.
just do?
We'll see.
I withdraw my hand back and I just go, well, I didn't have to kick you off, kid. So congrats. I don't know why I would have had to do that anyway. What was that for?
Mate, I've had an accident once. I just don't want to talk about.
Okay. That's cool.
Thank you for being a gentleman.
I gotta
She
be one
wipes it
once in
off
my
her face.
life.
I imagine it is at this time, unless there's no further discussion, that the group regroups, either outside in the snow or inside by one of the tables.
I will can't open the door and I will be like, do you want to come inside? Don't worry. Not downstairs, just inside.
How pungent is Bjorn right now?
Well, actually, his name is.
Yeah, I forgot to.
Versing Getorix.
Versing Goratrix. The name is very. It's hard to pronounce.
Gotcha. Bjorn. Gotcha.
Yeah.
Okay.
I will be like,
Beyond the unicorn.
good point. And I'll be like, we'll come outside.
He knows our name, which is pretty cool.
And not that we've gone into detail of my house, but let's say I've got a little awning deck area. Maybe we'll just hang out there.
Why
Not
not?
inside, not outside. Yeah. Snow falling down around us, but not on us. And I'll be like, right.
Where do we go from here?
Good to see everybody again. Thank you, everyone. I believe you lot saved me from that place.
You saved us countless times before. It's the least that at least I can do.
I like to think the man upstairs helped lead us to that manor, showing me the light.
Was that the
I see what you were
whining I
doing.
could hear?
Yeah, something like that. Glad to see that you're safe, Kage.
You guys must have questions, unless
Many.
did Lukas, did you tell them what we discovered?
Yes. I
Right.
was quite, and I know this will shock you. I was emotional.
Emotions.
Mm. Don't let it go to your head. I only saw a brief glimpse before I evacuated. You
were-
know much more.
You were probably the smart one. It was, as I mentioned to you before, Lukas, but not to use. It was, fuck, it was out of this world. It was strong. It was almost impenetrable. I couldn't quite cut it. I managed to wound its face a little, but it basically treated me like a buzzing fly. Oh, pissed. Even old mate. Pardon?
What did it want?
Well, that's the thing. It wanted our friend, but it left for some reason.
Where? Where is it now? What part of the city?
Oh, this is going to take some colorful language from me. It's I have to think about all the sci-fi movies I've seen back in the day. It tore open what I could describe as a wormhole or a void.
Where?
Sorry,
Where?
where?
Where did it do this?
Right. Okay, cool. You believe me. Cool.
Of course.
Yeah.
I can see this. If it's what I think it is, and if it's what
Let's put a pin on that for now. What you think it is? Demon?
Let's say it might not be as simple as demons and angels. It's demon-like. I'll give you that, Matthew, but we don't know what it is exactly.
But there's
No, I
clearly
believe-
lots of different demons because there's lots of different things.
Anyway, outside of the house, the Matthew's friend's house where they were staying.
Old house.
His old house. It just, it tore some kind of rift and it just went through. This was after it shredded our friend's arm and shield with one swipe. Such raw power. It's frustrating, especially if that's what got Rhiannon.
I didn't see this thing, obviously. I was doing my own thing.
What makes you think it got Rhiannon though?
I don't know if Lucas mentioned, but it came out of dear, not Oscar,
Martin.
split down the middle and exited Martin, to use polite, nondescript words. Kind of similar to the rituals we've seen, the whole split. I wonder if it's been searching for hosts, maybe, and now it has its eyes on our dear friend.
But those were all sealed up, and Martin only come into town today.
Yeah, I don't know. Sorry, I'm stringing pieces together. It's a lot. But this is what I've seen. It came out of Martin. It looked at our friend and it wanted him. And
Like they were all cut with this knife, and I pull out the dagger. Look, and then I poke my finger with the knife so it goes through.
It goes straight
where the bone is sitting.
through the flesh.
I kind of like
That could be useful.
Nani.
Yeah, that's how all these murders have been. That's why it was in the SI, anyway.
Well, maybe
It's okay, Buffy.
someone
put it
used
back
this
away.
knife to summon this, maybe? I don't know. I don't know how it got into Martin, but it got out, and I think it wanted our friend. But then after injuring him, it left. There's a lot of pieces that don't add up. Sorry.
And as he's saying, there's a lot of pieces that don't add up. I go to it. I'm assuming I've got like a little satchel and I've just got it on a table somewhere. I go to it, grab out the book, and I say, probably got some answers in here. Now, unfortunately, the one person that we know that can read Latin is currently stuck in the wall, in the ceiling, over in that manor. Now, how about we take this one step at a time? Collect the dirt. And while we're collecting the dirt, we collect the dirt around Kira's house, which will be my dirt. And Lucas, are you comfortable looking to see if you can see anything from beyond our sight?
I am not comfortable at all, but I will be absolutely doing it.
Very well.
That's the spirit.
Well, I think we're grasping at straws right now because this is far beyond any of our comprehensions. And if we are to get any answers, I have a feeling that this will be the one that will give us the answers.
But why did he give it to you?
Yeah. That is a question we'll have to broach once we find out what the heck this is.
Because he's a devil with the poodle cane. It's in the book.
Did you read the
Objective
book?
objective is get Serafina. And then we'll figure it out.
I also have my book, which may have more answers on Poodle Cane.
Was that in Latin too? I can't remember.
Yes, it was, and more
And
strange
Serafina,
symbols.
Serafina didn't get a chance to translate any of that.
She hasn't seen my book, no.
No. So, I think all roads lead to getting her back. Now, here's the thing that scares me. And Knives, you brought up a great point. We don't know what the hell getting dirt from all of our places, Isaac's place, Adelaide's place, is going to do.
Point at me, like, was my place included in this?
She didn't technically say yours.
I didn't think she did.
I
didn't
felt
agree
it was
to.
implied.
I didn't agree to it though.
She
but
didn't say Isaac either, just Adelaide.
No, she said Isaac.
I
She said
heard
Isaac.
I think I'm going deaf.
Isaac.
So we don't know what that's going to do. Now, the problem is, and they have made their intentions very clear, that as soon as the witch and King Eye are out of the picture, they are going to reap revenge. Now, that you saw what was in the ceilings there. You saw how many things were there. That is an army in there. So, devil's advocate, we need to do this, but at the same time,
We can't let her have her way.
we can't let her have her way.
Is this like you need to bring the unicorn alive and eat people kind of comparison, or where on the scale of importance is this? I'm just trying to understand because this all sounds crazy. Why would we don't know what the dirt does? This is insane.
I look at Lukas and I go, do you have any insight of what dirt could do? What a fiend could use with dirt?
All I know is what was in Dracula, and that dirt
Oh.
was important.
Would Dee know?
Probably I
Important.
sent them a letter, but I didn't send a letter about our new associate that we've met.
So, speaking of letters, I sent one. I sent one at one point.
I haven't forgotten.
Okay, just checking.
Thank you for reminding me.
So out of date now. It's so out of date
I
now.
know,
as
I
well.
know. It's a little bit out of date.
I'm
But hey.
gonna go into another room and message Alexa and be like,
So you're going
dirt,
inside the house?
question mark. Oh, I'm just getting away from you so I can send a text message.
It's other side of the porch veranda.
Pretty much, yeah.
I'm going to also step away, both in and out of game. I'll be right back.
No problem. What are you sending, Knives?
I am just saying, messaging her, just saying dirt question mark and seeing if she would know what that means.
Got dirt on someone?
Yeah, dirt on. You get on question mark as a response.
Maybe dirt ritual?
No, what does it mean if someone has it?
You get a response of that means they have bad information on you. Like I want from I and A.
No. Physical dirt.
Physical dirt. 3 question marks sent as a response.
From house.
4 question marks sent as response.
Look, just say you don't know. It would make this so much easier. Also, I love you. Kiss, kiss.
I don't
Okay,
know.
guys, I'm
Full
like-
stop. Love you. Kiss, kiss.
You all right, Knives? You're messaging someone? What?
Yes.
Cool. Did you
And
get
then I'll
any
message her
answers?
also and say, I know who Poodle Cane is.
Simple response back. For weird shit, talk to Ridley.
Grumble and walk back. Yeah, I'm fine. I'm fine. Fine.
Okay, well, right. So we're nowhere near trying to decide what to do. We need to figure out if well,
We need Seraphine, but
The
we
question-
don't need the crazy person.
the
making whole
question
town.
is do we just go with it and do it? Or do we leave it, try to figure out more? And once we figure out more, hopefully by that time, Seraphine will be still alive.
Well, I will do whatever my two vampire daddies want to do, okay?
Look at Kage. When did you become a daddy?
Oh, Lucas. He's like my sibling.
Sorry.
So-
You know, we're the children that need looked after all the time, and you two are the arguing dads.
I don't think I've ever argued with Lucas.
Don't know if I see Matthew as my dad.
It's okay, son. We'll play catch one day. Okay, right. So you're just willing to do you're just doing the job of throwing the decision on us. And out of game by us, I mean me, because Lucas isn't here right now.
you want
This is where I'm at. Okay, if you want me to be honest, I think it is crazy that we're offering up dirt that clearly has a significance, clearly is going to have some aspect in our future lives. Also, I don't want Seraphina to die because I love her and she's beautiful, and plus she can teach us. So that's like a side note, not the important note here.
What are our chances of getting her out of your life?
Without what we came, without the thing that we were tasked to do. Next
Yeah.
to
But how do
zero.
you get that
It's
carapace
zero.
off the roof without a big flicky tail like she had?
Okay, well, compromise. Does anybody have any ideas on how we're going to learn about the dirt and how we're going to learn anybody that we know that could know about dirt? Now, the only kindred I knew was King Eye, and King Eye and I aren't exactly on talking terms right now.
The father, you have a
Yeah, he knows nothing.
he knows nothing.
He's
About
not,
dirt?
He, I don't want to use the word naive, but naive.
That's what you call me, though. And then you tell me I'm smart.
Yeah, but you're smart.
Don't want to use the word smart, but you're smart.
Exactly. He gets it. He gets it. I don't know. I doubt the father will know anything about this. Lucas, have you talked to the father about fiends before?
about fiends as in Zemis.
Yeah.
I haven't had need to.
Okay. You might know a thing or two.
I can think of one more person who might know about the dirt. But it's not a good option. Oh, Poodle Cane, possibly.
Yeah, Poodle King.
Bag's not. Bag's
I'm
not.
just saying, on the surface, he's trying
Lucas,
to appear to
you
help us.
never met Poodle King.
I feel like if I would say something very inappropriate.
Very
Well,
likely.
he did say he was going to murder me and then said my real name out loud. So,
Wait, hang on. He said he was going to murder you?
yeah.
I just heard the part about him saying your real name.
And then something about killing. I can't really remember what it. It just been a very hard, long evening. Okay, it's only
Oh.
just started.
So he wants to kill Knives. I stole from him. He kind of implied that he wants to help Matthew.
I
Yeah.
would much rather have all of Hallstatt drown in the things in that manner than to deal with that creep.
Okay, well, there we go.
We know your stance on it. So, do we have any other leads as I look around the group?
I mean, night times are wasting. We could collect dirt in the meantime. It doesn't mean we have to give it to her, but at least
How
we
much
would
time
be-
have we got to get the dirt to her?
She didn't say, but
No.
I'm guessing not a long time.
So
we could ask Adelaide for help.
What's Adelaide going to ask about her friends?
Yes, exactly. She's got a whole bunch of missing Tremere. Just blame the fucking witch on the hill that has one of them.
That's she
That's
has
lying
ways.
knives.
She also has. She has a way of knowing. She knew, even though she was in an adjacent room, that we were using a non-verbal technique, and she's very good at knowing. If we try to lie, she'll be able to smell it with such heightened senses that it may as well have been a bouquet of roses, pun fully
Okay.
intended.
If that is true, why did you do it in the first place?
I panicked. I didn't think that she would know that I was writing down. And then when she confronted me, I tried hard to not outwardly panic.
No, what I'm saying is, if she knows everything that's going on anyway, why did you plan to murder all three of the Tremere she told you to look after, obviously as a task of trust?
I don't think she knows everything. For example, she didn't know exactly what we were talking about. She knew we were talking about something.
She has
had to
approximate
get
knowledge.
She had to get that information from us, and the information she got was not the right information. So she doesn't know everything.
Okay, now
But-
you're just playing fucking mind games with me again. Okay, next question.
Well, I'm sorry. Do you have anyone that you'd like that you could talk to?
I already did that.
And they didn't say anything?
But I don't know.
Detect lies.
While he's detecting lies, I'm going to be like,
Let's-
right. Sorry.
Knives. You were told that if you
This is what
need
I'm
to speak about weird shit, to talk to Ridley. But if you'd like to withhold that information, we're going to have a contested roll.
And while this happening, I'm going to be like, right, we are not sure about the dirt, but the dirt is back at the house with the rift and where Martin got split in half. I say we go look at the house anyway and see if there's any clues or what the Tremere had. I say we go start there. There's a whole crime scene that we've just left, and I think we need to have a look at it.
I
At
agree.
the very least, to make sure everything's hunky-dory and civilians aren't crawling all over it.
Am I detecting lies? Yes or no?
It's up to you, Knives, if you would like to reveal the Ridley or if you'd like to do a contested roll.
Well, in my mind, I don't feel like that functions because I don't know Ridley.
But you're still withholding the information that Ridley is someone you could talk to. So it's up to you whether you'd like to reveal that. It's just that. It's just to talk to Ridley or not, essentially.
There is maybe someone we can talk to.
Right. Cool.
I don't know if they'll give us the information. We might have to pay the price for that too.
Price for everything.
Who was this person?
He's Nosferatu.
Okay, it's better than a fiend.
And his name is Ridley. Anyone know? Fuck. Because I
Only you,
met him either.
Knives. You've
He doesn't
heard,
like me too much.
you've heard of the stories of Ridley from Alexa, how he's a grumpy old Nosferatu just hanging out in the salt mines doing his own thing. Not worth your time at all. So you probably have quite a negative opinion on Ridley.
Do
What?
you want to do that, or should we look at some other avenue?
I think that both Kage and yourself have very good ideas. I think maybe we begin with Kage's idea and then maybe go.
Or
Sounds like a good plan.
obviously never a good idea, but one task to two. We could split the party, but
I can do the Ridley thing. If I don't know how much use I'm going to be at the house.
Right, so
I-
Matthew and Knives check out Ridley, and me and Noah, sorry, Lucas, check out the house.
To interrupt, you to get to Ridley, you'll be passing by the home itself. So you can quite
It'd
easily
be-
travel all
yeah.
together
It's fine.
and tick
Alright,
one
let's-
and then the other.
Let's just go to the house.
Okay. At this point, we're going to take 5-minute break to get water, go to the bathroom, etc., before we travel to this home and then further beyond. Stick with us. We'll see you shortly. Welcome back from a 5-minute break. We're back and going straight back into it. So, the group gather in the car, gather some dirt before they leave, and make their way. We'll have to dig through some snow first of all, of course, and make their way to Kira's home, or what's left of it, at least, to gather dirt and also a different kind of dirt as well. As they stop the car, what is our intention to investigate this? How are we going about it? This information that Kage gave the group.
See anything, Lucas?
So glad you asked. I'm going to be using Where the Shroud Thins.
Perfect. I believe there's a handy chart somewhere in this book that tells me exactly on what level this particular.
Page 205.
Here it is. Perfect timing. So, Wits Oblivion and a Rouse check. Difficulty 3.
Also, is the wand is rituals, right?
All level 1 and level 2 rituals, yes. Would you like to cast one?
Can I cast Illuminate the Trail of Prey
On who?
on this ritual allows the caster to perceive the previous whereabouts of a designated person as a
Yep,
subtly
so-
glowing trail.
so if you
on
go to
the
where-
creature,
On the creature. Okay. Very nice. Very interesting use. Now, is that a level 1 or a level 2?
2.
Okay. So, make the casting roll. I believe it's intelligence blood sorcery for these rolls, and you have to beat.
Oh shit!
Yeah, it's a difficult one. The wand does help you. It gives you an extra 2 dice towards these rituals.
Okay.
This is after the fact, but I just want to clarify that
Yes.
when I went and shut the door and stuff, obviously I was going to make sure Martin's body wasn't sitting out for everyone to see. But,
Yeah, no problem.
Okay. I was
It's to be clear, it turned to ash as soon as it
Oh,
was
right.
done with.
okay.
So it's mixed with the snow. Not a problem for you at all.
Cool. Yeah. I was just saying, like, if it was lying there, I would not have left that.
Yeah, yeah.
Shut the door. That would be fine.
With a willpower to re-roll, I got 4 successes.
4 successes. 4 successes. Okay. So, if you want to follow, you currently for this night now have Illuminate the Trail of Prey. However, Knives, as you begin to bring this wand up, start casting the spell, I imagine you're doing it in the car as they're sort of making their way through, or when you stop there. As soon as you finish casting the spell, there is this horrible retch in your stomach that draws its way up. Your skin starts to like constrict and pull itself tighter, and the wand bends and twists in your hand and curves. You are going to. So, what level was the ritual? Level 2? You're going to get 2 dots in the ugly floor for the rest of the night. So, you're going to get a -1 on all social rolls as your body twists and deforms with this curse.
Knives, are you okay?
Yeah.
Oh,
What the
Not looking to flash there. Okay. Did it at least do anything? Does I look at the wand?
The wand doesn't do anything. However, Knives, through your eyes, you can see a burning trail that goes off and up and through the house almost and seems to disappear off to the right.
I think I have to follow it.
To be clear, this is the trail of the prey. You follow that, you will
Mhm.
find the creature.
Follow what? Like we can't see it, can we?
No, only Knives can see this.
So say, what did you do? You haven't explained. What was that?
I can see where it goes.
Where what goes?
The creature that you were fighting.
You want to follow it?
I
No,
don't think that.
That's
Mm-mm.
not a good idea.
It is good to know that it's not here, though.
So it's gone out of the house. It's not here. I'm gonna loop around it. I'm gonna
You should
scout.
not go alone. I'll come with you.
As you sort of move your way through, Knives, it looks like the trail passes through places it shouldn't. It goes straight through a wall. It goes straight through another building that seems perfectly intact, like barely like anyone's touched it at all. It's very strange. And to add to that, as you sort of sense the shroud, Lucas, and start to make your way through, eyes glowing and making your way through, touching different areas of the air, it seems thick in a lot of these areas. But when you get to that particular area where Martin once stood, just behind him, there is this part that is completely absent.
Well, this isn't good.
I'm gonna assume Matthew's with him because I'm following Kayla, who's following a trail.
Mm-hmm.
While he's doing that, since I can't do a hell of a lot, I'm just going to dig some dirt and I'm just going to say, what's not good?
I'll try to keep things as simple as I can. There is a veil, a shroud that separates the world of the material with the world of the spectral. It is kind of like a fabric. It can be a thick fabric, it can be a thin fabric, or perhaps there is no fabric at all. In most places, it is a thick fabric, and then he reaches out and snatches your wrist and kind of like puts it in the air where he feels that it's not there. But here, it's gone. There is nothing stopping anything from that side from coming into here.
And that's not good.
That is not good. Things from the other side that either were not born or were never meant to be in this material plane, there is nothing stopping them.
Excuse me for a moment. And I walk away, go on my phone, message Kira, say, organize cleaners, organize the house to be sold, do it as soon as possible. All right. Got that sorted out. Got to get rid of this before things go really crazy. But okay. All right.
There's a little bit of good news, but it's very
Okay.
niche and very, very little.
I'll take anything at this point. What
This
have we
would
got?
be the prime area where I could do my ceremonies.
What kind of ceremonies
So,
can you do?
Necromantic. I can summon spirits if I have their fetter. I can command them to do what I want them to do.
Are you in the market of buying a house?
Not with it looking like that.
We're gonna get a cleaning crew and it'll be
We'll
fine.
talk. We'll talk.
We-
but now
we'll
it's not
figure
the
it out.
time.
Exactly. No, I think this is a grand opportunity. All right,
Mhm.
so that is some good news for you.
Edition 8 Hallstatt reality show.
I've clearly named this the wrong thing. Hallstatt by real estate.
Yeah.
Also, do not get any mortals in this area. Their health will decline and decline and decline. So maybe hold off on
Knives
the
Ranson.
cleaners.
I'll Mrs. Kira. Don't go there yourself. Send other people. Never into this area.
Knives runs in and is like, this thing can go through walls. What?
Question. It's gone through walls of other places.
Yes, buildings.
All right, time for me to be a little bit useful. If you don't mind, I pop
About
on
time.
ore,
Mm-hmm.
walk up to one of the buildings that that Knives has pointed out, and knock on the door.
Mm-hmm. This old couple open the door to you. Sort of, the old man steps forward and simply says, "Oh, young man, you shouldn't be out so late when there's a curfew out and it's freezing."
I'm so sorry for bothering you this hour. I've my car broke down a few blocks back. I've been trying to knock on some doors. You got a phone I can call a friend from? My phone's flat.
Of course, come right in, please.
Yeah, no worries. And I look around and I investigate, and I say, anything weird happening tonight? I don't know. I kind of heard from some people that there was some kind of weird goings on around this neighborhood tonight.
Well, apart from the terrible things happening downtown, no, everything's been quiet these past few nights.
Terrible things happening downtown. You talking about the
Those poor girls.
yeah, the girls. Yeah.
Hope they catch the bastard whoever did this.
Yeah, that's real. Yeah, hopefully. I mean, I'm just passing through here, you know. Anyway,
Yes, sorry, the phone. He gestures you through it, and as you sort of observe and look for things untouched,
anything out of place. Yeah.
untouched, between what you can put together quite easily at this point is like, this thing isn't actually passing through these houses, from what Lukas has told me and what Knives has told you. You sort of just click it together and go, right, it's not even here when it's making it this way.
I was more just wondering, like, if it had exited at any point while it was going through the house.
Now we'd have to follow that for quite a while.
Okay, well, I can't do that, so I will exit. I'll thank the elderly man, and I'll just say, "You keep warm, all right?" And walk out, and I'll just relay that information of, well, the houses look fine. It seems like it is staying within the other side of this veil.
It can rip itself. It's what Demetia said. The shroud just it can create absent spaces in the shroud. It could pop out anywhere without warning at any time.
Yep.
Don't panic.
You are, though.
Yeah, I don't think we're the ones who are panicking right now.
It's not a good situation.
It's not a good situation. It's definitely not. But we're not going to find anything else out, I don't think, until we can figure out this book. Now,
Should we go inside and see if our Tremere friends left any clues to what they were doing? I don't know. Maybe there's something in the house that triggered this thing to arrive. All I know is Martin was in there. And suddenly
you lead the way, Kage.
right.
I'm going to put my sense the unseen on because I remember they did glyphs.
Yeah.
Very,
we
very
technically
nice.
couldn't have got into the house, right?
You would have been badly injured if you tried to, yes. So, stepping in, I will get... either of you can make this check, intelligence investigation, and the other one can add a dice to assist. Or anyone can add a dice, actually. If you have a dot in investigation, whoever has the highest dice pool in intelligence investigation
I have a 4.
Mine's a 3.
You went higher than 4? Okay,
Yeah.
so
I roll with 5.
make those dice and add a dice for everyone who's helping.
Oh, sick.
Rouse chick.
As I say, so you'll be rolling like 7
I
or
can
something,
help
Chris.
with 1 dot, right?
Yeah.
I help.
I said, did no, I did.
Other dice.
Yeah, hang on. So wait. So 4 to start off with. I did a rouse check, so I get an extra 2, so that's 6.
And 3 from
Mm.
us.
3 from you. Thank you. One, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And you know what? I'm going to willpower just in case I get a 10 on any of these.
Why
dice.
not?
Because I've got a 10 on one of them, so
Go for it.
7.
7 successes. All of you working together, scouring the area. Luckily, all of these wards and things were broken apart when the creature sort of slammed its way through the building. And you do find that just in front of the couch, Mr. Deacon, you find this symbol that you immediately pull out the book. You start flipping through the book. You see that symbol. 2 circles, the diamond inside and the circle around it.
I hold the book open and look at everyone, and I'm just like,
It's drawn in blood.
so
Martin, do
Not-
this.
not only does Serafina know how to translate Latin, but we got ourselves a little link here. So Serafina knows what's going on.
She does.
Case closed. We need to save her.
So you've got 2 dirts. We get the rest. We save Serafina. We
I
take
look
out
at
the demon, and then we worry about the crazy lady.
Brienne and we still haven't even. All right. I look at knives and I say knives. Now this is important.
Yes.
If we were to collect dirt for you, where would that dirt be?
How do we collect dirt from a sewer?
Your haven's a sewer.
Hypothetically,
I guess.
but yes.
Maybe
If
take
any
just
some
of you
closest
tell anyone,
ones.
you're all fucking dead.
Take some
Okay.
water. The water evaporates. You're left with dirt residue.
You want to sift some sewer water tonight? Is that what we're gonna do? Ah.
This is ridiculous. What about if I get some dirt from near the sewer? Is that
I
gonna
think
what
that'll be
about-
fine.
That will
If I
probably
just-
suffice. Otherwise, we're
Let's
gonna
just
have to
do
get
that.
some heavy machinery in, dig through
Also,
the
we
concrete.
still wouldn't go and see Ridley because I kind of need to set that up.
We are
in
halfway
advance.
there already. We may as
Yeah,
well.
we'll go
Okay.
there. We may as well, but I feel like whatever the answer is, we're gonna have to do this.
Okay, I will meet you at the mines. Give me like 20 minutes and I'll meet you there.
You
She
good?
runs out the door.
You don't need backup? Okay. And I look at Kage and I'm just like, Kage, should you follow?
I don't think we could leave. I don't think any of us should be entirely alone, at least in pairs.
Watch from the shadows. Yeah.
If that's what it takes, and I'll just go.
With me and Lukas kind of left behind, I sort of sigh and sit down on probably a messed up couch nearby, and I just say, hell of a night.
One of many to come, I think. But hey, I mean, at least I'm gonna get a new house.
It's good. It's good. I mean, we're gonna get some people to clean it up. It's gonna be
Could be worse.
It could be our new base of operations.
If we survive
As a unit.
as a unit, nothing more.
As a unit.
How are you
I'm
really
glad-
feeling?
It's tricky. Part of me is terrified. Part of me is clawing within without being able to be the one who is moving the pieces around. But I let it go. And I feel like that's working for me. Sure, I'm still telling people what to do, but it's more it's less you have to do this, more this is what I think we should do. And I think that's really working out. So thank you very much for your pep talk there, Lucas. That was
You're welcome. No, it's usually better to be the advisor than it is to be the commander. If anything goes wrong, it was just a suggestion. It's not my fault that you listened to it.
exactly. And yeah, I'm well, how rude of me. I didn't even ask you. How are you feeling with this whole demon thing and the thinness?
Oh, I think it's delightful. No, I hate it. I don't want it. I need it gone. The shroud is there for a reason. And the fact that there are just random holes in it, it puts me on edge. And I've already had one emotional breakdown this lifetime. I don't want to schedule another one.
Try to remember on the bright side. Think of the opportunities this can present you.
Now, I know that the opportunities would be good, very, very good. But here's the situation. I can't really do anything. Let's say that this demon is dealt with and it's gone and we don't have to worry about it. I have my new house and it's baptized in necromantic energy and I have everything that I need. Spirits is still gone. This spirit woman that is with knives, apparently, I can't. It crushed my car.
Good. That is good.
So unless I can, would it be vivisect or dissect? Technically, they're dead. Whatever the case may be, if I am able to split them apart, then I would be happy.
That, my friend, is something that's not a thing I want to touch with a 10-foot pole right now.
Yeah.
So I think that's probably good to table for future. But for now, we'll see what goes on with this Ridley thing. And see how it
Maybe
goes.
I'll try to review some books and materials that I have. Maybe there is some kind of formula that I can create to thicken the veil or to set spiritual traps or to, there has to be something I can do here. There has to be more to me than holding a goddamn vanity mirror and pointing and asking it to scream.
There's plenty to you, Lucas. There's plenty to you. I think out of all of us, you're going to be the one that's going to save our asses in this. And I believe
don't
that sincerely.
Just thank you. Just don't think I'm going to do any manual labor.
That's fine. As I start to clean up some of the house, thinking, oh, I got a potential customer here. Oh, I got a potential buyer here. All right, let me start cleaning this place up.
Knives, where are you headed?
I have activated Fleetness and Cloak of Shadows, and I'm just going to my home to get dirt. But I didn't want them to know where it was.
Kage, without Sense the Unseen, Knives is
There.
nowhere to be seen. With
That's fine.
Unseen Passage, invisible to the
Yeah,
naked
that's-
eye.
I step outside, like, oh, fuck, ship sailed.
I imagine this is just a quick go out, grab, and come back.
Well, I told them I was going to meet them at the salt mines, so I will message Alexa on the way and
Mhm.
just say, "Do you think we could meet up with Ridley, please? Pretty please with a cherry on top."
Do you really want to go see that old thing?
I don't know, but maybe he could help.
I'll organize a meeting with Grandpa.
Also, you get to see me. Haha.
That is always a plus, smiley face, with like multiple end brackets.
P.S. One of these dudes is a jerk.
Which one?
Yeah, that doesn't help. Be more specific.
You will know, trust me.
Very well. In that case,
I was gonna say, if I could have a moment,
Mm.
upon going outside, realizing she's not there, before I go back in, because I've had a bit of a rough morning. I'm just gonna kind of take a moment on the steps. I'm gonna do we meditate in the snow, just kind of reflect on what happened last night.
okay, let's get a composure and resolve, I
Yeah.
believe, is our usual meditation
Composure, resolve.
roll.
Yeah, it's just kind of like my first. I'm just gonna take a moment to myself, like just reflect on what happened last night. What does 3 10s do?
That is just a single crit. You need another 10 to get a double crit if you wanted that.
So 5?
5 successes. With 5 successes, you breathe in, sit, cross your legs, listen to the wind, feel the snow, relax. The voices are finally gone from your body. You find a sense of zen, a sense of inner peace for a moment, reflecting on everything that happened last night, all the things that got in your way, all the things that you did, and how, despite it all, you're still here, you're still alive, still breathing somewhat, still kicking, still have your sword at your side.
Yeah, I've got old mate in my basement, wounded. Got kidnapped by that thing. She's possibly going to ruin the whole town. The bat demon's possibly going to ruin the whole town. Fucking the SI are probably going to ruin the whole town.
There are a lot of lit flames slowly being stoked around the edges of the town, ready to engulf at any moment. You're in the middle of it all.
Also reflect on what I did, and can I do my humanity roll now?
You know what? Let's say yes. Why
Yes,
not? I think it's an appropriate time.
That's what
So
I think.
you have what, 6 humanity, and you've taken 3 stains?
2, or was it 3?
Sorry, 2. So you should have 2. Yeah, 2
stains.
empty boxes. So roll 2 dice. All you need is 1 success.
I willpower them.
I don't believe you can actually.
All right, here we
with
go.
with these
Chris
ones.
is shaking his head.
Yeah.
Got a 1 and a 10.
All you need is a single success. You reflect back on it in that moment of inner peace to think about what you've done, feel that deep regret, and touch back with humanity. You don't lose a humanity this time, but you know, coming into contact with that thing may well push you over the edge. Whatever its influence is quite dark, quite malevolent.
All right, sorry, you can go back to.
No worries. I like little cutaways.
Yeah.
Little flavor. It's good.
Just
it is.
Slow down for a bit and reflect.
Yeah. It is at this time the three of you make your way up and park the car because you have to take the Easy Forestall trail to walk up, or you have to take the electronic carts that ride up the mountainside towards the salt mine. Would you like to walk, or would you like to take those?
I'm fine with walking.
Walking would be. I mean, we don't have Kage with us, right?
I'm there.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Kage's with
But you
the
are back
doorstep.
here? Okay.
Yeah. I was,
Then
I was
yeah.
just on the doorstep.
It might be best to walk.
As I said,
Technology and
don't get too excited, Matthew. This isn't praying.
I'll need wits awareness from all three of you. Knives, you were a lot quicker. With fleetness, you made your way up the mountainside pretty quickly. You're sort of up there, almost at the front of the salt mine, of the slides. There's lovely wooden slides. You can take the stairs that go down, or there are these slides that you can slide down each level all the way down into the mine. 3-3.
I'll be waiting for them.
an 8
And
with a messy
powerful
critical.
pose. on the
8
top.
with a messy
Yeah.
critical. Knives, you feel it at this moment. The slow growing dread from the knife as it starts to shake, shimmer, and sort of pull you further towards the salt mine, somewhere safe. Lucas, you feel it instantly. You almost hear it like baking paper being torn off to your left, off towards the mountainside. Something is here elsewhere, and it fills you with dread instantly. You can't see it yet, but you know if you're not quiet, it might find you. The other two of you, there's a rustle in the trees, some birds fly away. It's an eerie silence that has been following you this entire time.
I touch the knife, but I also message Alexa and ask her if she's okay.
Quick response. Totally fine. How are you?
Something is wrong out here. I'm outside the entrance.
She responds with just, I'll let Ridley know. He'll meet you at the front.
Sweet. And I pick up the knife in my hand. Buffy, is this the demon? Is it following us?
Overwhelming feeling of melancholy, of fear strikes through you. It slowly rises and rises and rises. The dagger itself is pulling, trying to get you out of here and towards the salt mine.
We have to wait for everyone else before we can go. Just hold. We'll be okay.
Each passing second, it pulls harder and harder. But we'll cut back to the other three as they're making their way up the trail.
I think because Kage and Matthew probably, we feel a little uneasy, but like probably don't really notice much. I think Matthew's just going to say, like, well, seems a lot like praying to me. Huh?
Quiet.
What?
Something is here. Something evil. We need to be quiet. Silent.
I won't say anything, but I'll hand on my sword and just look around.
I would like to sense the shroud again.
Mm-hmm. Make the roll for Sense the Shroud. Rouse check, and then I believe it's Wits Oblivion. Knives, each passing second, you're holding onto the knife, it jerks slightly towards it. It pulls harder and harder each passing moment.
Does it let me let it go?
It seems like if you stay here probably a couple more minutes, it's going to fly out of your hands. But for now, it's trying to pull you away.
Okay, I am going to follow the knife and just message them and then tell the group to go straight into the salt mines once you get here. And I'm going to be just out of the open, but in the entrance of the salt mine. I'm not going to go too far down.
Mr. Deacon, I'm going to ask a very interesting question. Do you keep your phone on ring or silent?
I keep my phone not on silent, but on vibrate.
Okay. Luckily, since some of us are missing phones now as well, you hear and feel the vibration in your pocket. Flicking it open, checking it, you get this message from Knives. Now, as the three of you are making your way up towards the salt mine, I'm going to need dexterity and stealth from each of you.
So for the roll,
Mhm.
I failed, so I got hungry. I'm at hunger 2.
Yep.
I also got another messy critical of 7 successes,
We
margin of 4.
Didn't deal with the first one. The first one, your clan compulsion will be active for this scene. Second one, your hunger is going to go up even further as the urgency of this scene is starting to really get to you. Whatever this thing is, it's close by. But you can tell the shroud here on the Easy Forestall Trail, just really close to Rhiannon died, is absent. Fives and fours for a dexterity stealth. Okay. 1. After some time, making your way up through towards the salt mine, you can see it in the distance. Knives, are you waiting sort of near the front to where it is?
Yeah.
Are you visible?
I'm not visible yet, but I will make myself visible as soon as I can see them.
You can
Once they get close enough to the entrance that I can see that there's nothing right behind them.
You can see all three of them as they pass around the corner just within eyesight of the front. And that's when you hear the voice behind all three of you, that low growl, simply saying, "There you are." So I'm going to need stamina athletics as all of you break into a sprint as this thing crashes through the trees behind you, splintering them. You see it, Knives. I need a Rotschreck frenzy check from you as you gaze upon this pale blue creature in front of you.
Can you remind me what that roll is?
That is your remaining willpower, plus a third of your humanity.
Stamina athletics, it was.
Stamina athletics, because you're breaking into a long sprint away from this thing.
Can I also, I don't know if it needs to roll, but just being me and being faster, can I see if one of my friends needs help and assist them?
Sure. We will see if some of you may need help.
2. Also, I roused and got hungry. I'm at hunger 4 now.
Okay.
I'm at hunger 3 at this point.
Oh.
I'm so glad I fed. I'm so glad I fed.
Willpower.
And what was the other one? Strength and athletics?
Not you, Knives. You're at the front of the...
okay.
You're fine. And with 4 successes on the Rotschreck Frenzy, you see it. Your beast screams, fucking run. Get away from this thing. But you hold yourself there for a moment. The knife pulls and tugs as far away from this thing as possible. Kage, you are... With 6, you're incredibly fast. Now, if you want to assist someone, I'm going to get a strength athletics from you to actually hoist someone along with you.
Who looks like they're slowing down the most?
Lukas looks like they're struggling the most, but both of them are struggling. This thing's fast as well.
Can I be between them and like just maybe a hand on each of his shoulders?
Ooh, it's going to be tough, but you can certainly try.
I'll try. I'll try to assist them both. All right. Well, I need to roll.
Strength athletics.
Strength athletics. I will rouse the blood.
Mm-hmm.
It's a 7, so I'm Gucci. So 6 plus 2. That's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and I can willpower if I need to.
5 successes. You pull them just slightly forward as the claws rake through the air, catching Lukas the back of your shirt, but just missing you barely as it stops, slams its feet down, swipes at the air, growls, simply saying behind you, "No, don't run. I need you." And let's get
So
another stamina athletics check, please.
Is it after Kage?
It seems to be after all of you.
I cannot afford to rouse again.
Are you sure?
Oh God! Now I've got stigmata. Great.
Can I try
Great.
something?
What would you
Because
like
I'm
to try?
desperate. Anything and everything, really. I would like to have my battle banshee to scream at this thing, or to like just see if I can distract it, or like, yeah.
Okay, this is Ethan out of character. You can definitely do this. It's definitely going to make you safe, but you're going to lose your banshee. So you can make that choice, or you can make the roll. It's up to you.
But it would guarantee our safety.
It would guarantee your safety, yes, if you sacrifice this spirit.
We're also running full tilt at the moment, are we?
You are full sprint away from this thing.
I'm stigmata as well at the moment. So.
I'm going to do it.
Okay. Knives, you watch stepping back towards the front, almost falling down the stairs, as Lukas, I imagine you're going to whisper something into this fetter. What is your exact words?
I'm so sorry. Scream your final scream. Make it loud.
As the three of you sprint and run, you hear a deafening scream behind you that almost pushes you further with the force of the wind behind you being ricocheted. And then all of a sudden is silence. Knives, you're the only one to see this pale blue creature. As all three of them reach you, you look and you see the wraith, this bent over woman, being grabbed by this creature and slurped up into its maw as it sucks it up straight into itself. Sort of glows for a second, shakes its entire body, and then lunges forward towards all of you. But you already passed the barrier, and as it steps to the barrier, its hands start to burn as it grabs part of this top. It shrieks in pain and steps back, screeching, before it quickly sprints off away.
So I can see this thing now?
If you, I imagine your back's still to it, but if you'd like to turn and face it as it grabs towards you.
Upon hearing the screech, I might turn around as well.
I'm going to try, and this might not work.
Remember,
Serpent eyes.
It doesn't have eyes.
Doesn't have eyes?
This creature doesn't have eyes.
Turn around with serpent eyes, it's like, well.
Yeah, it's just got the bat ears and
blood is coming down. Well.
I need, if you want to witness it so that you know that what everyone's dealing with, I'll need Rotrek frenzy checks from everyone who observes it. Even just being in its presence.
So that's
your remaining willpower and a third of your humanity. Yes. Likely, it doesn't touch any of you.
One, 2, 3, 4, 5.
The difficulty is 4. If you get 4 or more, you succeed. Otherwise, you are stricken with a deep fear of this thing, and you just turn and sprint straight down into the salt mines, perhaps going down the slide itself, stumbling through, pushing your way past, running deeper, deeper still.
Question. So, to me, is this the same thing that I seen last night?
Yes, it is.
Yeah. Cool. So I'm not stricken, but I'm watching it. Like, I don't know, I'm in the cave, but I'm just going to watch it, stare it down, basically, as it leaves.
Unless the unswayable mind helps me, I fail.
No, unswayable mind does not help you with Rotrek frenzy.
Both of us fail, so
both of you
run.
sprint and run, just like the first night, Lukas. You sprint, run away from this thing. You know that it got so close to you, it's torn the back of your shirt. And you both just start stumbling down the stairs, making your way through until you turn the corner, round again, down another slide until you're down, down, down in the salt mine where there's small exhibits of salt pyramids, salt spheres that have been made out for this sort of museum section of the salt mine. You finally end the compulsion there and pause, breathing out, perhaps, or maybe even retching.
I don't want to be a spoil sport right now.
That's perfectly fine. Go ahead.
I have stigmata.
Yes.
What hunger is Lukas at?
4. Make a hunger frenzy check, please.
So I'm just leaning against the wall, just like bleeding everywhere. Just
I'm standing at the entrance door and watching it leave. And,
Hmm.
and Nova, are you visible or are you still invisible? I'm guessing maybe you stayed invisible when you seen it coming.
Yeah, I would have stayed invisible as long as I possibly can and
Yeah, it's-
turned around and watched that thing. What happened with the ghost again? Like, did she get eaten by the demon or
She
is
got
that what
turned into a
happened?
ghost
Essentially,
Slurpee.
it grabbed her, shrunk her down, and drank her entire essence
Okay.
into its mouth.
I thought it was the other way around, so I just wanted to
I wish it was. No, what's the difficulty for this?
I believe it's difficulty 3 for the sight of open blood at this particular level.
If it is, I just succeed.
Let's have a look. Yes, difficulty 3. Sorry, sight of a wound is actually difficulty 2. You actually made it quite easily. You hold yourself together. Both of you sort of stand there for a moment until Kage and Knives come down and you all regroup.
So real quick, my knife wasn't like sticking in it or anything. I couldn't see my knife.
It was not.
Nah, that's all right. I wasn't expecting.
In
to.
fact, all the wounds that you dealt to it had burned.
I'm
ate
leaning
your
against,
knife.
I'm leaning against the wall as these two come up, and I just, as soon as they come out, I just say, "Knives, you got any of them blood bags?"
I have
You
one.
look like the blood bag there, Matthew.
Yeah, I may have lost some blood earlier tonight as I look at Knives, but you
I
know,
give him a blood bag.
thank you.
Do you
One
not
will
have
stop
your
this.
heart still?
I am starving.
You got the hearts. Eat them. Where are they?
They were in the car.
Oh, how about we just go back to the car real quick? I'm sure that's not going to be a problem. As I'm like slurping back a blood bag. I'm guessing 1 hunger from that.
1 hunger.
Yeah, that's enough to stop the stigmata at the very
Yep.
least.
Say, if we're desperate, I could try and stealth it, but it's still risky.
No, I think actually the cable car could be a
No.
safe passage.
No. The shroud, it's not here either. It's gone. A massive hole. I sacrificed the one spirit that I had under my control.
I walk up to Lucas and I just put my hand, like sort of hover my hand around him and I say, "Remember what I said to you, Lucas? Out of everyone, you're going to be the one to save our ass. And that's what you did. You saved our ass. Thank you."
You can thank me by feeding me.
Not a lot of options here.
Sorry, I already gave it to Matthew.
Wouldn't
Oh,
work
yeah,
with
wouldn't
me
do.
either.
Wouldn't do
Fuck.
anything.
There's a voice that comes out of the darkness at this point, out of the corner of the room. Man, you guys look like shit.
You sound like shit.
Hey,
Also, upon
Sorry.
hearing a voice, I would probably instantly turn around and hand on sword.
Yeah. The darkness, you see nothing. Empty shadow.
Who's there?
how are you, Ripley?
This time from the other corner of the room. Knives. So good to see you.
Do you know about the shroud in here?
Shroud. Some word these necromancers use. I don't care.
Oh,
Do you
makes
know
it
what's
safe.
outside of your precious little salt mine?
Lucas, don't be rude.
I'm
Not inside, though.
Yeah, why is that? How did you stop it?
I didn't do anything. I didn't stop it.
Do you know what did?
It looked like it recoiled when it touched the edge of the salt mine.
The salt. The salt.
All this time and it's salt.
The salt.
You are standing in the biggest salt mine in all the world, and the oldest.
Yeah.
Well, you found a great place to live, Ripley.
Very convenient considering all things happen. By the way, and I'm looking around and I'm just like, the name's Matthew. I'm sure you've heard of me before.
Yeah, I've heard of each of you. Ridley at this point steps forward and sits up against one of these the salt sort of pyramid, and puts their arm against one of the sort of signs that tells you about the salt mine, one of the tourist signs. They are this old, decrepit, greenish-skinned Nosferatu, covered in this big robe. It's covered in all these ancient symbols, covered in all this jewelry and things that look so old, crusted in salt all over. And it's a very tall, lanky, bald with sort of bat ear Nosferatu that sits before you. Lots about each of you.
Our friend is in dire need right now, so I'm just going to cut to the point. Dirt. Zamisi, what do you know about it?
I'd be wary. The mates you love their strange natural magics.
Holistic magics.
Who knows what dirt could do?
So you don't have any idea what giving someone's dirt would do.
The only people who've seen Zamitzi do these things are up in Vienna or dead.
That's just fantastic. That's great. Well, thank you for that. And I look at the rest of the group and I say, well, if you don't have any more nuggets of wisdom, I think we've discovered one thing, but we discovered one thing and discovered that the other thing's a mystery still. So thank you very much for your time, Ridley. I don't know if there's anything else that anyone wants to ask.
You came all this way just to ask me one question.
Fine. Who killed Rhiannon?
I think a lot of people killed Rhiannon. I think all of us are to blame.
What do you mean by that?
Poor girl just wanted to leave. Just wanted to go. Get away from all this. Hallstatt didn't let her go. Adelaide, Isaac. All of us didn't let her go. And so it's got her forever now.
You know, this is always a question that I've had at the back of my mind. What made her so special? Because I never had much to do with her, but she didn't seem that special to me. Like, what is it that made her so special?
That's just the thing, isn't it? Nothing. We, decided that she was special. And so she was. And the world crushed her under that weight.
But she's also not the only one that's dying.
No. I'm sure all these poor girls are caught up in something terrible.
What do you know about Poodle King?
Eli. Been here longer than me. Tortured artist types, typical Toreador. And trust him as far as I could. Well, that's not exactly true. Just don't trust him.
Do you know much about demons?
Somewhat. I hear stories.
Let me tell you a story. 3 little witches come all the way from a land far away that's been ravaged by hunters that want to hunt them down. 3 witches come to a little place, a little quiet place near a lake. And these 3 witches, in their wake, a demon pops out. What does that say to you? Well, what insight can you give me on that?
Depends on whether they brought it with them or it was waiting for them. I don't pretend to know what these things do, but I like to stay out of their way.
All right, I think you.
Go ahead.
You've
Sorry.
had your
I just had a quick thing, because obviously I noticed something that was said earlier,
Mm-hmm.
and I just wanted to check if Nova realized or she didn't, and if she didn't or she did and she's deliberately not saying anything.
What is it?
The fact that he said that Eli was a Toreador.
Oh no, I told her. I told her last session.
Oh right, okay. Never mind.
Yeah.
I
I thought you watched it, Jonno.
did.
I came clean with it.
I'm the one.
Yeah,
who forgot.
as soon as that slipped, I was like, "Oh no!" And then I'm like, "No, I told her. It's fine."
Yeah. Whereas, I forgot, and I just wanted to check that. Yeah.
Yeah, no worries.
I forgave him, and we've moved past that.
Yeah,
He
that's right.
slapped me and then forgave me.
But the next
Yeah.
day,
And
I
then
forgive you.
drank his blood. Yeah.
And then drank my blood. Yeah.
Okay,
We're in
okay.
safe spaces now.
All right. Sorry for. Yeah. Carry on.
Yeah, that's totally fine.
I will say. What's your take on the lady in the thing in the manor?
Disgusting creature. As long as she stays there, everyone's happy.
Gonna be very happy for long.
Sounds like other people's issues, not mine.
You think you'll be unaffected if she decides to expand?
I'm not of the 3 witches, so I think I'll be fine.
You really just look out for number 1, don't you?
Best way to live. Isn't that right, Knives?
I wouldn't know.
What did he say?
You missed the joke. We did.
Very good.
I look at Lucas and I was like, do you have any other questions? Are you okay?
No.
No?
Mm-mm.
No? Okay.
Can we take
Well-
some salt?
Be my guest. Not like I'm doing anything with it.
Just checking, come into your place. Thought it might be rude just to start taking.
Ridley moves over into one of the corners, reaches up, plucks this stalactite of ice, of salt, and makes his way over, gestures it, hands it to you, Kage, with his long, gangly limbs.
Ah, good. Exactly the kind I was wanting.
I'm sure.
Hopefully
Thank you for
this.
doing
Sorry.
me this favor, Ripley.
I still have some kind bones in my body, unfortunately.
Since
Also, if you know anything about any sulfur substances or hear anything, can you let me know via the usual channels, please?
Which substances are you talking about? Because I may know something.
Rhiannon had one in her mouth.
The
Danny,
pills.
yeah.
What are you going to give me for the info?
What do you want?
Some other info.
Like, what kind of info? You got to throw me a bone here.
Something personal to one of the big players in town. I do love to watch them squirm.
Wouldn't mind knowing more about them myself.
Matthew sighs. See, sits down, and he just says, "Knives. You better not kill me." You mentioned about Rhiannon being weighed down by the different forces in this city, well, in this place. I happen to know what King I was weighing down on Rhiannon.
Oh?
First you, then me.
All right. Mr. Eli has been dealing out those pills. Didn't think I saw, but I did. I saw him give him to Danny.
Not surprising. It's
Not
our
surprising, but-
original suspicion.
Not surprising, but it confirms that he was lying.
Consider it confirmed.
Very well. He had Isaac had Rhiannon with a group of others smuggling and dealing drugs in this city, or in this place.
Why would I kill you for that?
Now,
It's literally what I did.
oh, okay. I thought you'd be. Well, I thought all of you would be a bit more affected by this, but there it is.
Desperation causes us to do desperate things.
So, that's the dirt. That's the dirt I have on King I. That's what I was what King I was leaning on. Now, you know his whole smuggling operation, and I can give you some details on how, but that would require more of a partnership because I was very intimately involved with that.
No wonder.
So, surprise, they said I'd help deal with drugs.
No. No wonder she felt the way she did.
up the way she did.
Go visit her room. Read her diary. It'll tell you more. More than I ever can.
Thank you. And I believe you just gave me a twofer there. You gave me one piece of information, you gave me another. So, before we leave, I would like to extend a courtesy to you. If you value your place here, if you value, not your place, if you value your existence over your place, I would go running as soon as you can. Because there's some stuff that's going to happen. And this is just a bit of advice, a bit of a warning that that nobody really wants to be in the crossfire of. Unfortunately, we don't have the luxury of that choice. So, my last piece of advice to you. We're going to leave.
I had my bags packed since the first day I stepped foot in here. But thank you. Stay safe, all of you.
And I'll leave one final thing. I'll say, if you don't leave, if you decide you're going to stay, you want to partner up, you know where to find me.
I'll visit.
I'll look forward to it.
I'll give him a nod and I'll follow Matthew.
He steps back, vanishing into the shadows very quickly. Are there any words shared between our group as they make their way up the stairs?
Surprised we've been dealing with so much shit left of field that we haven't even checked Rihanna's room yet.
No,
I mean, I've mentioned it several times. Just
And
saying.
what did I say to you, Knives? I said you were the smartest out of all of us. Should be listening to you more often. Let's get Lukas some food. Sorry, we shouldn't talk about you like you're not here. You're not yourself when you're angry.
But, are we?
Does that say?
Are we just going to walk out there?
I grab a bunch of bumpfuls of salt and I just start covering myself with salt.
Yeah.
Just rubbing it all over myself.
It
This is
crumbles
the best
away
we
and
got.
starts to place itself across. You know, it'll last a little bit.
I see what he's doing. Is there any more those stake type things?
You'd have to go deeper into the
Okay.
mine to find more.
I grab a handful and I just kind of fill one of my pockets with a handful. So
Yeah.
I have a handful of salt and a.
I look at Kage as he's holding the stalactite and I say, don't be overzealous with that. That is how we're going to beat this thing.
Exactly.
So use it as if you are sure it is going to work.
Last
Otherwise,
resort.
don't. Last resort.
Lucas will, because of his hunger, because of the just everything going on, the things that he lost, it's more bestial, more animalistic. He kind of spots the kind of refraction of light on the salt crystals, and he just lashes out at it, snatching some and just putting it in his hair and baptizing himself in it. But he just, every single time that he grabs or moves, it's very non-human. There's noises that come out of him, keening and whimpering that turns into a snarl of an octave that is far lower than his usual voice. The beast is so close.
On seeing this, maybe I just suggest maybe I could go alone as stealthily as possible and grab his lunch and bring it back.
You can run fast, can't you, Kage?
I can.
Want to do the Yoda? Luke and
Sure.
Yoda? Have him on your back, you run. I think he needs it as soon as possible, and I don't want to risk you doing a trip there and back.
Okay. You two obfuscate, follow down slowly and carefully. I'll take him as fast as I can. As fast and as quiet.
It is, at this point, the safety of Salt, the promise of a diary, more information, the lies of Eli, and this creature
Surprise.
hunting our group through the night, through these next few nights. We're going to end tonight's session.
No.
Yay! So nice work, everybody.
Yay!
Very, very. Yes!
Yay,
The real,
Protect us from demons, Theo!
the real star of the show.
Yeah.
Oh, nice work, everybody. Let's reintroduce our wonderful, wonderful cast of people here, and tell us where we can find you, what you're up to at the moment. Starting with Lucas.
Hi, everyone. I am Satanic Bunny. You can find me here on Twitch at satanic__bunny and on Twitter at satanicbunny2.
Hi, everyone. I'm Chris, aka The Unemployed Writer, and you can find me on Twitch at Unemployed Writer. There's also Roleplay Nights, but I'll allow Nova and Jonno to chill that. Might be streaming this weekend because it's a long weekend. I probably shouldn't I? We'll see.
Yes,
We'll see.
yes. Do
Why
it.
not?
Do it. Do it. Do it. Do it. Do it. Sorry.
Hi, I'm Theo. Baker's Dozen. Okay, Jonno. Thank you for watching. Yeah.
Where can we find you?
Baker's Dozen 5, I suppose. Yeah.
Yay!
Or Roleplay Nights.
When are you going to stream again?
I actually streamed this earlier this week.
Well, everyone was at work.
Mm.
Whoop, whoop. Well, I'm Nova and I played knives for you today. I am too tired to do any streaming of any kind. But I'm trying to help get Roleplay Nights active. So if you want to just drop us a follow, that would be appreciated. We're halfway to getting affiliate, and by the time we run
Actually
some more
streaming.
games on there,
By the time we
Yeah.
actually stream a game on there.
by the time we actually start streaming on it, we might have enough to have emotes. So
Hell yeah.
ta-da! I'm just gonna stand here awkwardly.
And I'm Ethan, the storyteller of this chronicle and these wonderful people. You can find me here. Obviously, I'm here. And I'll be streaming over the weekend. And we're going to be announcing another game coming up soon. So get excited for that as well. Very excited for that. And yeah, catch us next week as we are honing in on the end of Hallstatt by Night. Getting to the end of these mysteries and everything going on.
Yeah, I'm really upset.
So sad.
My apologies. You guys are just too good at solving mysteries. It's not my fault.
How about we start not solving it and just keep going?
Yeah, we'll just start flopping
Stop.
around.
Hawaii is still on the table.
No.
Hold on,
Yeah.
no, we
Can
have
you
the answer.
please have a fish episode next week?
No, we're the whole start real estate. We'll start doing
Oh my
up homes.
Oh my
god,
God.
it's House Hunters.
Our
Hunters of Hallstatt. There is
oh my God. Our after season show will be you guys selling all the wreckages that is left over afterwards and retiring to Hawaii.
Hey, look, I nearly sold that terrible place
Yeah.
to a code remember, so we good.
Oh my God. All right. Thank you all for watching. We will see you all next week, same time for more Hallstatt by Night. Go check out these wonderful people. We'll see you then.